get into it when you were more of like an adult?
Well, my mom always traveled. I mean, I always liked airplanes. I liked everything. So.
Airplanes freak me out.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't do well with airplanes.
Is it because of the takeoff, landing? It's because
it's the whole thing. I don't like not being in control.
I have another buddy that's like that too. Like, I don't like can't be in control.
I play it off really well though. The wife will look over. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." It's the same thing like with me with the large amounts of people in the public arena. I don't do well with that at all.
Oh.
Yeah. I just.
Yeah. Wait,
it's the whole thing of.
Is this side is just. There we go.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just the whole, like, being in a whole group of people that bothers me. Like, I get really anxious. Like, we went to Jazz Fest last year, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine." And she's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm good." And then, like, she's like, "All right, we can go somewhere else." I was like, "I was having a good time there. Why wouldn't you just leave me alone? Let me have a good time. If I need your help, I'll ask you for your help."
She's just looking out for you.
She is, but she does that all the time. Like, because I have, like, weird anxiety, and I still don't know why. Like, I used to take stuff for it, but I just don't like how it makes me feel. So it's one of those, like, I try to, like, figure it out myself to stop it from happening, just because you don't need to be in public and then start blacking out because you're like, there's too many people.
I would say, when you walk into the crowd, do you start to feel your heart racing and you start...
No, I don't get the heart racing thing. It's just everything up here just shuts down.
Oh,
it gets all closed. I have to walk to, like, the side of a road. Either way. So, like for Jazz Fest, everybody's up and down the middle of the roads. I have to be on a side.
Don't go to Mardi Gras then.
Don't go to Mardi Gras. I don't think I'd ever be caught there otherwise, other than going to see, like, a Saints game. Yeah. Everybody says that's a different breed of people down there.
Yeah, no, going to Mardi Gras, I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
You even if you tried to walk to the side of the road, not going to work.
Have you been?
No, I haven't been, but I have friends that have gone. They said, yeah, it's just a madhouse and walls and walls of people. It's
so crazy too, because I know some people who lived down there or went down there for work and stuff like that, and everybody says, like, that part is just so close knit that you want to stay exactly in there, and if you go just a step outside of it, it's like your threat of life just is insanely huge. Like, I have a buddy who he worked down there for a while for Sutherland. They transferred him down there. So he was with them, and then every weekend they would drive over, like an hour and a half. They'd get a hotel, and they'd stay in there. And he's like, "Yeah, dude." He goes, "Just outside of the center of town." He goes, "You don't want to be caught outside of your car." He said, "It's bad.
Don't go to the Ninth Ward.
If there's an alley, don't take it.
Well, the French Quarter itself, the few blocks that you are in there, you're fine. It's just because of all the raucousness and everything.
Yeah.
But once you get on the other side, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's no more people. There's no more cars. It's starting to get darker and darker.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to jump out at you. And
there's just this fake shadow over it.
Right.
It's
you're like, how quickly can we get an Uber? Uber quickly.
Lyft doesn't come here. Why doesn't Lyft come here? That's how it was in Charleston. It was the same thing. Like if you're near the water in Charleston, you're like, "Oh, it's gorgeous, beautiful. I can't believe more people don't live here. The view is phenomenal. Look at all this history. It's just amazing." And then you're like, "All right, I'm gonna walk up the street real fast, and I'm gonna go to hit these places." And then you, like, cross a bridge, like not even a long bridge. It's like a super short bridge. You look behind you and you see, like, sunshine and birds and stuff. And you look the other way and you see homeless guys with signs and rats walking across the street. Like, how did that happen, universe? What is going on here? It's like an easy split too.
That's the thing about major metropolitan areas. That's the thing. It's just life.
Somebody said it's like that in like DC area too.
Oh yeah, DC. You go. Well, they tell you in DC you stay on the quadrants.
Yeah.
The northwest or the southwest quadrants are fine. Southeast, no.
Why? What's in the southeast?
The southeast is going towards Prince George's County,
okay,
and then down and around Anacostia and all of that area, it's just a lot of, I don't know, for some reason, shootings and knife.
Oh, that's probably like more of like the city area, right?
Yeah.
Is Baltimore north or south of DC?
North.
North, yeah. So it'd be just outside. So
now Baltimore is a whole nother.
That's a different animal. Yeah. You don't want to get stuck in Baltimore ever.
No, stay in the Inner Harbor. That's what I've learned.
That's what we tried to do when we moved back from Florida. Is I was like, all right, guys, we're gonna leave at 10 p.m. from Florida. I was like, we will be home the next night by 8. I was like, but we need to get through Baltimore before lunchtime traffic. My cousin and my wife needed to take a nap, so we lost an hour, and then I got lost because my GPS got messed up. So then I finally found them back, and then by that time we were stuck in morning traffic because we should have passed through Georgia before morning traffic hit. We were passing through Georgia as morning traffic hit.
Did you go through Atlanta?
We went around.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, but was the same whole thing. It just that one little hour just held us back just enough to not get stuck. So that added 2 more hours, and then we ended up going up through, and then we got stuck in stop and go traffic in Baltimore for 3 hours, and then we went around. And my wife loves The Office, and my cousin loves The Office, and they're like, "Oh my God, let's go to Scranton." Blah blah blah. They didn't tell me this, and we hit this point, and my cousin goes right, and my wife and I go left, and I'm like, "Where the hell is he? Where's he going?" And she calls him, and he's like, "Oh, you said we're going to Scranton." I was like, "I have the money." I was like, "Nobody told me this." I was like, "Scranton's 2.5 hours that way and 2.5 hours back." I was like, "Did you want to add 5 hours?" He's like, "Oh, blah, blah." And he makes some complaint up. And then, and I was like, "You got to turn around." I was like, "You got to meet us in Harrisburg." So he turns around, he loses an hour, and then he gets stuck in dinner traffic and loses another hour getting to us. And by that time, he's all frustrated and thrown up. I was like, "Because of you, we just added 4 hours plus your nap." I was like, we didn't end up getting home till 2 a.m. the next morning. It was bad.
Let's put it this way. Going from Atlanta to Philadelphia, and both times I had to move. When I moved from Atlanta up to Philadelphia, or actually Delaware, but going up that way, got to D.C. and Baltimore, I said, never again.
It's so bad. I'll just fly next time. I'll sell all my stuff and fly. It's so bad.
From Philadelphia down to Charlotte, normally it's only about 8 hours.
Yeah.
Took us 12.
That sounds about right.
4 extra hours because of stop and go, people around Quantico and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on here? And, I don't get road rage, but at some point
I don't get road rage.
you start getting to the point. I'm a very patient man. So but at some point I'm like, I don't understand the concept here. Why are people wanting to go 20 miles an hour?
Everybody just keep moving.
But it's like and then all of a sudden you start seeing one lane all of a sudden going, let's go 4 times faster.
Oh, yeah.
The other lane over here, we're going to go 3 times faster, but the one you're in is still moving. You're like, okay, so you get over, and then you get up there, you see the people, and you're like, oh, well, I'm just going down hunky-dory right now.
Yeah.
It's like, do you not see the daylight in front of you? You need to hit the accelerator and go.
It's confusing. I did that when I was in high school, because I always wondered about lines. I was like, why is it that when someone starts moving in line, everybody doesn't start moving in line? It's like, is it not possible? Can we not do this? So I had everybody line up. I was like, everybody take a step. Everybody took a step. I was like, okay, it is possible. Because otherwise you get in a line and it's like, here's a couple people moving. And then it goes down like a wave. And then here's a couple people.
But you see it now. I mean, even now on campus, RIT, you sit there or go to salsarias or something, you see everyone has their back turned to what they're supposed to do. And I was just looking at them like, just trying to nod at them. And they're just talking. And finally the person behind, like one of the managers was like, ma'am, you need to turn.
I love it. People call people ma'am, like when they're children. That's my favorite. Ma'am. Wow. Hold on. Pump the brakes, please. Oh, hi. We're here. Back at the show. We got 2 cameras going. We got this one for live streaming, and this one is for me, and I'll edit that, and I'll upload that later because I don't trust the internet. So
there you go.
We're here with Dr. Reginald Rogers and Life on Record. Say hi.
Hi.
There it is. Boom. We're here. So the way that this is going to start is I'm going to ask you about your life. Tell me about your childhood.
From the South. Born and raised. Atlanta. Hot Atlanta.
Oh, hot Atlanta.
Peach cobbler, ribs, collard greens, soul food.
Are you a Falcons fan?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That's why we can't be friends anymore. It's the thing. I don't put all my Patriot stuff away.
Are you a Patriots fan?
Yes, one of the few.
How do you survive in this area?
I don't tell very many people.
Okay.
I'm a Patriots fan.
I'm going to say, well, now it's on record, unfortunately.
So. Yeah, I think everybody knew at some point, because I had the head coach for the Aquinas football team on last week, and we were talking football, and I kept bringing up the Patriots references because they're such a good team, very well put together, but you guys fought so hard. That was such an amazing game. Anytime I'm feeling down or something like that, I'll watch the highlights for that game because that's one of the most motivating things ever. But
how are you feeling though after Sunday?
It was hard, man, but that was a good game.
That was good.
I'm not like a sore person this is rigged, blah blah, excuse. It's like, no, they were better than us. Done. When you're part of a good franchise, you understand that teams win and teams lose. That's I love the Steelers, I love the Saints, and I love the Seahawks.
I can't be friends with you.
Oh, come on. Triple S's. It's the Patriots with a lot of S's.
I can't be friends with you because you have my mortal enemy from the NFC South.
Oh, come on. The Saints are my thing. I love the Saints. That Drew Brees. Woo! Woo!
No.
That guy's a gunslinger.
You mention Saints and it becomes war.
Oh no! Who else was in that conference with you? I can never
Carolina.
remember. Carolina, yeah.
That's the other team that everyone was like. I have another buddy that's like that. He's like all about Carolina. I'm like, I can't be in the same room with you if you're gonna sit there.
Are we really having a conversation right now? We're gonna talk about enemy franchises.
Throw down, and then of course there's Tampa Bay, but everyone, whatever.
Hit or miss. Yeah, that one's. I have a buddy who's a Tampa fan, and every year he's like, "Man, I gotta get a new team." I was like, "Didn't y'all win a Super Bowl like in the early 2000s?" Like it was a thing, right? I didn't imagine that.
I always tell people NFC South for some reason every year it's just a dogfight.
It's bad, yeah.
But everyone doesn't pay attention to the NFC South. They always look at the NFC East,
yeah,
because of the I call that the drama.
Are you talking Cowboys,
Cowboys, Eagles,
Redskins, and them?
Yeah, that's always a drama division. I don't know why.
Well, you've also got that the division with the Vikings in it, which is hit or miss sometimes, just because.
Well, there was no Aaron Rodgers this year, so
yeah, when Aaron Rodgers is out or Matt Stafford isn't playing right, or and then as of lately, anybody around the Oakland Raiders, better take a step back because they are now they got John Gruden. That dude's one of the greatest minds of all time.
Yeah, but I mean, like they got to move to Las Vegas at some point here, and I'm wondering how that's going to go when they make that move.
They're doing it smart because of the taxing in Vegas. They're paying everybody minimalistically up front, so when they go to Vegas, they're going to get way more money. Mm-hmm. I was like, you guys are so smart. But that franchise is just going to blow up. They're going to be one of the only places around that place, and I guarantee you, people fly into LA all the time, Las Vegas all the time. It's not going to be a difference for them. I think what's going to happen is because they were talking at one point about expanding the NFL and adding 8 more teams to give like Canada and then give Mexico and then give a couple to England and then add 4 stateside franchise teams. That's what I heard years ago.
I'm like, I'm seriously going.
You got to add a whole nother division per NFC and AFC.
Right.
But I wish they would just break it up and they would take the country and go. And then just take the 8 teams up here and then break them into two divisions for separate conferences down here. Because it's like yours. You've got a team in Florida, a team in Louisiana, a team in
North
Atlanta,
Carolina, and in Georgia.
Yeah,
so
like
it makes sense.
That's big areas.
Right.
But then you've got, the East, you've got New York City, and then you've got Washington, then you've got Texas,
and Philadelphia. So 3 out of 4 make sense, but the 4th one doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand. All because of rivalry. They're like, nope, we have to maintain a rivalry. And I go, come on. There's a time and place to maintain it and a time and place to say, you know what? Let's move on.
Well, I mean, look, Florida could easily have 3 of its teams and add Atlanta in there. You go Dolphins, Buccaneers, Jacksonville, and the Falcons. Boom. That is a division in the South. Nailed it. Like, it doesn't have to be harder than that. But they're like, we're going to do 2 over here and 1 down there and 1 up here.
I mean, you, like you said, New Orleans, Dallas, Houston. Mm-hmm. Who's left over there?
Carolina. Oh, you said New Orleans, Dallas,
I'm just thinking about that area right there.
That's what I was saying. If they ever got the extra teams, they would have to put one in either Alabama or Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And I would be right on that Alabama bandwagon. I love Alabama. The Crimson Tide. That's my college team. Michigan's good. No, why?
I'm from Georgia. See, SEC country, you are wherever you were born. Yeah. You do not go away from that.
Good football program up here, though. We don't really have a good football program up here, though.
Well, that's true.
I mean, we've got St. John Fishers. We've got, I think U of R has one. RIT does not have one because they're hockey and basketball.
Right. Buffalo has one.
Buffalo. UB has one, yeah. For that direct area, I think that's pretty much it.
But I mean, are you trying to say you want to be on the SEC bandwagon, or are you trying to?
No, I love Alabama, but I'm saying if the NFL threw a team in like Mississippi or Alabama because of where they're located, I would be the first one line for team stuff.
But the market's not there. Remember, NFL is all about profit.
Yeah. Well, they're down like 15%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why the move to Las Vegas is supposed to hopefully increase the market share, right?
Yeah, but Oakland, they're gonna freak out. They're going to demand another team. Like, if let's say they did actually go through and add more teams, I guarantee you Oakland will get a team back. I guarantee you St. Louis will get a team back.
Not really, because look, guess what happened to San Francisco? They moved them down to Santa Clara.
Oh, that's right, they did.
So split the difference. You go one way.
Yeah.
I don't see the NFL giving Oakland another team unless someone come in. There's enough demand and enough, cries from the fans saying you took our team.
Yeah.
Because think about St. Louis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like St. Louis was like, well, screw you, NFL. you took our team, but I guess if we try to cry for another team, you're going to be like, nope, you got to prove
I guess you got to find another team.
Right.
But they let the Browns be a thing.
That's just, I'm sorry. Every time I look at the Browns,
It's so sad because they have so much talent.
But it's almost like I don't understand what the owners are trying to do. How the GM is really working with the owners to help build that team. I don't know what's going on there.
I've got a half-cocked theory with that, and it's Bill Belichick is like spoon-feeding them players over the past few years. So after he finally goes down the line, wins another championship with Tom, he'll be like, hey, everybody, I'm retiring. And then the next he'll come back and be like, just kidding. And then he'll go back to his first team, take them to the playoffs. It doesn't even matter if they go to the Super Bowl or not, or the conference championship. He's going to take them to that point from a garbage, 0-16, 1-15 team, and just run them to the end and be like, see, I'm the best ever. These guys are exactly the same. I'm the only difference. Just to set it in stone, because they're just such hot trash right now. And they have such good players, too. They don't lose by huge margins.
Well, that's the thing. They don't lose by huge margins, but the problem is they don't win.
I just think it's their coaching. I don't think their coaching is really equipped to deal with training your people to last four quarters, and then being able to handle on-the-fly system. Your quarterback is trash, so he can't really get out there. You have a good running back and a bunch of good wide receivers. Your defense is pretty well stacked, but you have them out on the field more often than none when you're running 3 and out almost every single drive.
Well, here's the thing. How many quarterbacks has gone through Cleveland?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no stability at the helm, so I don't understand. I mean, you had RG3, you had all these other.
Oh yeah, he did go. Oh, whatever happened to RG3? Because he was Washington for a while.
I think he washed out.
He might have. Oh, that guy had potential. It always breaks my heart when people have potential and they just.
Well, I mean, it's again, think about what Washington did to him.
Yeah.
The fact that they picked him and Kirk Cousins in the same draft, it was like it shocked everyone. Like going, okay, why would you pick 2 quarterbacks if you?
Didn't Kirk just get let go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did Kirk go?
I think he's out on the market.
He's out on the market. I hope Andrew Luck doesn't stay in Indy. I hope he leaves.
I don't know.
It's the end of his contract.
Although Indy's pissed off with New England right now.
Yeah. I still don't even know what the logistics behind that is. I have to look further into that because the fact that he was going to go was breaking my heart. But we lost Patricia anyway. But it's still one of those I want to know why he stayed. What do you know that we don't? I bet you had something to do with the way the contract was written.
But I also have the problem with the fact that they already had his staff on.
And
apparently they already hired his staff too, all the assistants. They hired him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, why would you hire the staff before you had a done deal? I don't understand.
Yeah. Huh.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But someone.
I know all those contracts. They got a ton of stuff in them that's just super weird.
But if the question is this: is McDaniels ready to go to the next level? He did it once. He failed.
Where did he go? Where was he?
Remember
before?
He at Denver?
Denver, yes. Okay. The hard part is is your owner willing to give you the free way to do what you want, the leeway? Is your CEO willing to give you the leadway? Are your offensive defensive coordinators, your offensive line coach, your special teams coach, are they willing to give you the leeway to do what you need to do so that way you can help them do their jobs? That's what my guest last week was talking about. Is he was like, I do what I do, and I have so much faith in my other guys that they can go right ahead and they do it, and I trust them implicitly.
Exactly. And
then I make the on-the-fly calls. And that's one of those do you want to be a coach who has to do everything? Do you want to be a coach who has a good staff and they can do everything? Because that's the big difference maker in a lot of these teams. Is when you see the teams falling apart. Generally, it's the head coach. He's doing too much. You got to let your other coaches do their job, and then you got to fix their job if they're doing it wrong. Correct them, the course, and then allow them to know their players. Because you've got a huge roster of people active and then practice squatters. That's just too many people for you to know exactly what their skills and attributes are.
Well, here's the thing. There's been talk of the coach in waiting in New England.
Which one? You talking Bill's son?
Yeah. No, McDaniels.
You think? I'm wondering if they won't move Bill's son from special teams to the defensive coordinator for a while there. And I could see him totally taking over for Bill when Bill leaves because he knows the franchise in and out. I guarantee you when Bill leaves and Tom leaves that most of those players are still going to be there and all they got to do is fill the void with quarterback. I really wish we had kept Jimmy Garoppolo, but
that's a whole nother discussion.
$137 million over 5 years?
It's a whole nother discussion there. Why they even
him and Brissett were costing them way too much money to be second and third string quarterbacks, way too much money, and that's the big deal. That's apparently came down from the top. Was one of those you need to get rid of these guys or we'll choose who leaves. So it's just one of those. All right, But now that the Colts have Brissett, and Brissett did not do too bad this year, and you got injury-prone Andrew Luck, it's one of those. I hope they let him go because I want him to go to a team that has a really good offensive line so that way he doesn't get hit anymore because that guy's really good.
Yeah. Luck, yeah. I don't know what Indy's holding on to him for. I guess they're like, no.
It's probably in their contract, right?
Or they're still saying that he's coming back. But every time you talk or hear the media reports, it's, well, there's still another delay. It's going to be another 6 months. It's going to be another
Well, it's like, do you start Teddy Bridgewater or Case Keenum? Do you start Carson Wentz or Nick Foles?
Well, first of all, who's staying in Minnesota? Who's going out of Minnesota?
Yeah, that's another one because I could see them letting go to Bridgewater. Bridgewater's such a good QB, though.
The ownership loves Bridgewater. They will not let him go.
So I don't see why they wouldn't keep both of them then because Case isn't costing them too much.
But if Bridgewater is the one you want on the field, do you really want Case Keenum to be sitting there? Because the crowd's going to be, the fans are going to be like, why would you put Bridgewater out there? He hasn't played.
Yeah, but you want Brian Hoyer as your backup quarterback? I'd rather have really good quarterbacks as my backups rather than having somebody who's gone on 7 or 8 teams.
True.
Same thing with
But I mean, Foles, I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's going to be an interesting situation.
Because if you just cut your Super Bowl MVP or you don't let him start the next season.
That's going to be bad. But it's bad for Wentz because Wentz did most of the work.
Yeah.
Foles came in when he needed to come in. That's the next man up. But Foles, like you said, teared him to the end.
Nick Foles wasn't a bad quarterback when he was the starter, though.
Right.
Like, he was good. I told there was a boss of mine in Florida who was a fan of Philly, and I was like, he's good. He's like, oh, I don't like him, blah, blah, blah. That was like 3 years ago. It's like, I bet you really don't like him now, do you? Because he just won you a Super Bowl. Like,
exactly.
I bet you really hate him now.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. So being a Southern man, obviously, sports is important, right? As well as family and growing up in a fast-paced environment. I'm going to assume big family.
Nope, small.
Oh, small family.
Yep.
Oh, I assumed wrong.
I only got one brother.
One brother. How old is he? A couple years older? Older?
No. He's 6.5, younger.
Oh, wow. He's way younger.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. That's got to be interesting.
Oh, no. I mean, it was difficult because, he was coming up, and then I'm off to college while he's still in high school.
Yeah.
Or middle school. And then by the time I got done with college, he was just rounding the corner and getting done with, high school and then going off to college. So, yeah, a little bit of difficulty from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But, no, we're close.
That's good, though. Where's he at now?
He's down in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So he's Germantown. He's a meteorologist, modeler.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, did his undergrad at Florida State. And then,
he stayed in the warm.
Yeah.
Not anymore, though.
Yeah.
So, obviously, growing up in the South, what was life like for you?
So, down south, we always call it, we go slow pace.
Yeah.
Southern hospitality, take your time. Don't, up here, it's like you see everything moving at us. A New York minute, as they like to call it, in the cliche. But down south, no. It's take your time. It's not about trying to rush, not about trying to, get things done ASAP. I always love Sundays because Sundays go to church. When you come home, you just sit around.
Yeah, it's your day to do nothing.
Yeah. And then, dinner is, as always, down south, dinners take a whole day.
Ooh, that's my kind of dinner.
It's not dinner's going to be done and, hit the button on the microwave and you're done. No. You take the whole day. You take time because it's about enjoying the experience. It's not about get it done so we can sit down and scarf everything down.
And then move on with the day.
Right.
So with that whole fast-paced, slow-paced thing, what I noticed when I lived in Florida was that everybody drives like a bat out of hell, and then everybody walks like they've got a load in their pants. That's the only way I can phrase it, because they'll be walking and you'll be driving around the corner doing the fast thing, and then they're slow hips and they're just waving their hand real slow for you.
They take their time across the street and you're well, you look at the light going, okay.
I wonder if it's just got to do with the heat. It just hurts so much to be out there. You're it's just slowing me down. All that radiation.
Do you like humidity?
No.
Okay, don't go down south.
No, we lived in Florida for a while. We came back because we couldn't do the humidity. I said if I was going to move again, I'd move to Seattle.
Seattle.
Or the west side of Nevada, Arizona, something like
Humidity's
that.
in my blood.
Humidity, you're born in it.
I'm born in it. You always have the southern blood in you. So I like it when it gets humid up here, and then seeing everyone going, oh my goodness, it's too much. I'm like,
It was really bad this summer of 2015.
Yeah.
Because when we came back, I was like, oh, it's going to be so nice to have a real summertime. And we got here and it was like
90 degrees with.
It was awful. I was like, what happened? And then someone's like, oh, it's because we had really bad winter. I was like, act like you know about science. We're just going to move on with the conversation.
No, well, first of all, you're in a lake.
Yeah.
So heat plus water equals humidity.
But we don't normally get that here. Like, obviously up here in Webster, I'm going to get a little bit more of it than when I was in Henrietta. But Henrietta, if it was 80, it generally felt like 78 to 82.
Right.
Because there's always that breeze here.
But no, I mean, humidity is how you handle it. It's how you live with it. Not you don't try to fight it. I don't know why people try to fight the humidity.
You're not trying to fight the humidity.
You don't. You're not going to win. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, you live with it. So you just move in, and I tell people all the time is when you see that it's going to be 60, 70% humidity. Okay, you obviously think that all right, shorts weather, light colored clothing because you don't want the sun absorbing into you. And then like at the end of the day, I say, make sure it's lightweight.
Oh yeah, because, nice and thin.
I mean, yes, you're going to probably have to take a shower 2 or 3 times a day if you're working outside all the time. But once you get out, and then I love it when you get to the car and your car is like the oven
you
that
can
it
cook
could be.
in it if you wanted. Yeah. Oh jeez.
So I just tell people, leave your windows cracked. And I can't tell you how many times I see people who don't leave their windows cracked and they get back in there and it's like, of course you have black interior. And I'm like, oh, well,
yeah.
You're going to be sitting here for a while waiting to even touch your steering wheel.
Well, that was one of the discrepancies somebody had was they're like, oh, you never crack the windows or anything like that. You leave the vent shut because spiders. And I was like, do you think a spider wants to crawl into your car when it's sealed in the sun and it is roasting? I was like, I don't think he's going to be in there at all.
No, I'm like, it's 130 degrees Fahrenheit in your car.
He's probably
I
dead.
don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
In fact, the spider's going to be like, oh, it's too hot in here. I'm going back out the way I came in.
Yeah. That was one of those things because for a while there I worked right across the street from the gym that I worked out at. So I just wouldn't wait for the car to warm up or anything like that. So that way the AC would kick. I would just drive over with the air completely off. And then when you get out of the car from 130 degrees, it's like, 90 degrees. And you're like, oh, it's so much better. You're like doing a false stimulation for it.
But the problem down south is that we also have the other thing that comes with heat and humidity.
Big ass bugs.
Thunderstorms.
Oh, yeah. The storms are insane down there.
Yeah. So I can tell when I look outside, I'm just like, yep, it's going to storm today. By 2 o'clock, you start seeing the clouds build. By 3 o'clock, it starts getting black.
Yeah.
And at 4 o'clock, it unleashes.
Were you part of that strip in the south that it rains every day at a certain time for a certain amount of time?
Oh, yeah. That's how it is down south.
That was so crazy.
Like clockwork. That's the problem, though, when you're growing up, coming off the school bus, and you're like having to run up the hill, quickly to get, because obviously you see lightning blasting around you.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to be out there
trying to run and get inside the house, and then of course, especially I remember one time I was coming home and I'm looking out the window, and the bus driver's like, "Yep, all you be careful when it's the rain's starting to come down here. Be careful." And I'm like, "Great!" So I'm trying to cross the street and going up the hill, and then kabam! And I'm like, "Oh,
gosh.
Okay, well, I think I better go faster."
Yeah.
And the rain I got soaked by the time I got. And it wasn't like I had to go like more than like 500 feet, but it was.
Yeah, it was enough that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Mother Nature was getting you anyway.
Exactly. So it was like, yeah.
So how do you handle the snow then? This can't be nice I live here and I don't like the snow. I'm from here and I don't like it at all. It bothers me. Adapt. He goes, I just thinned my blood a little bit.
Learn and adapt. That's all you do.
It's like crazy. Like that's a big
I've
dichotomy.
been in the Northeast forever. I mean, I've been in nor'easters. I know what that's like when you have coming across and then, wind howling down the Charles River in Boston, and you're like, okay, so this is what windstorms are like.
Was it a culture shock for you coming from the south to the north?
Oh yeah. Oh, when I moved up to Cambridge for my undergrad, that was an experience of a lifetime.
He just casually says, I went to Cambridge for my undergrad.
Yes. I could say MIT if I wanted, but...
You could have said MIT if you wanted.
Yeah. But moving to Cambridge and Didn't understand New England culture. I didn't know what that was like.
That's a different animal altogether.
So,
that's one of those.
I'm down south. We're warm and welcoming. We always say please and thank you. Hi, how are you doing? We get a conversation going.
Yeah.
That was a
lob of butter, yes.
Okay. When I went into a restaurant once, and me being my southern person, my southern boy self, and everything else in between, go up. The waitress comes up and I go, "Oh, how are you doing today?" And she give me this look of like,
No way.
like, why are you talking to me? And I'm like, okay, that was weird.
Who are you? Don't
Right.
talk to me. You don't know me.
Yeah, and so, and having to get used to that mindset, and then of course everyone's like honking.
If you want coffee, let me know.
Oh, I'm good. Okay. Honking the horn. That is the one that drives
That's
me insane.
my favorite one. Oh, it's so
I didn't understand
good.
that. I did not understand why people were honking horns. The minute the light changed, it's like, I'm like, the light just changed. And if you're a pedestrian, you don't matter. You're roadkill if you're not careful.
Yeah. Especially
learned
seeing
that.
as that city's designed like this. Everything just corkscrews in and out.
Well, I know what it's like to almost get hit by a T-bus.
Yeah, we had that in Barbados because it's like it says 30 kilometers an hour and everyone's going like 60, 70 kilometers an hour. You're like, you just took that corner and I saw 3 of your wheels off the ground. I don't know how that's possible, but 3 of your wheels were off the ground. Like, people are crazy.
This bus comes and literally, like, so in MIT, there's a big, huge area called 77 Mass Ave. And that's the big crosswalk. You have to go across Mass Ave to get from the main campus to West Campus.
Yeah.
And it's busy all throughout the day. You just see nothing but students and people. It's just nothing but people into that crosswalk. Well, the problem is when the light changes, you know how people, they got their foot ready to go. And then horns start honking. Well, I was ready to cross and the light was changing. And I happened to see a bus coming, but I thought the bus was going to stop. Oh, no. That bus driver was like, I'm getting to the bus stop, which is on the other side of the crosswalk.
Oh, gosh.
So he almost hit me. And I'm like, all I remember is seeing the bus go like this, and the wind hits you when it drives by you really fast. Yeah,
The hot air and the diesel smell and
I
your
was like,
life.
wow,
Yeah.
all right, there goes my life flashing before my eyes, but okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. I have a friend who just moved. I think he was in Boston for a little while. It was the same thing. He said it's just a different animal out there.
Oh, don't drive. I mean,
Don't drive. You just said walking was bad. Don't you think I'd have a better chance of driving? That's like New York City. I will never drive in New York City.
Do you think they understand that, lane markers are there for a reason, right?
No, they don't care. Every time I've ever gone to New York City, I've parked the car outside and I've taken one of the trains or the subways to get into the city. A, it's way cheaper, and B, I don't have to worry about driving. And then you can pretty much take the subway anywhere you want to go.
Yes. Yeah, New York City, I have an aversion to even taking a car into New York City.
My older sister makes that mistake every time we used to go there. And I was like, are you really putting yourself through this again? She's sitting there like directionals on. She's like, I'm coming over. Like, you're like so aggressive and stuff. And you're like, you could have just parked somewhere else. We would have got in.
It's like, no, when I'm in a shuttle, shuttles I like. Uber drivers I like, and Lyft drivers. When I have to get in a taxi cab and I'm pulling the seatbelt and making sure it is as tight as possible and holding on to the door,
Yeah.
you have a problem.
Those taxi drivers are out of control.
Fortunately, the last one I had wasn't too bad, although he did scare me because he just kept honking the horn no matter what.
Oh.
It didn't matter, like, you can't move. So
They're just letting somebody know that I'm here frustrated.
He would, like, do these, thread the needle kind of moves of cutting over and... Yeah, I mean, but there was some where I literally said, okay, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this taxi cab alive.
Yeah, that's and then you just got to take like a snapshot of their ID real fast. Don't get in his cab.
Oh, no, I just watch a TV, like a little TV they have in there. Like, okay, keep my eyes focused on the TV. Yeah. Don't worry about what's going on the road. Just keep my eyes.
This is a tank. If it gets into an accident, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's
the denial phase of like going, I'm going to be delusional right now and say like, this isn't happening.
Because I haven't taken Uber or Lyft or anything like that.
Oh, you got to. They're great.
Aren't they great?
Oh, yeah. Very easy. Easy to work. You get the app. You just go in there, tell them where you are, where you're going. They tell you the price. You go pick me up, show up, get in. Their cars are clean.
Oh, yeah. But they got to be like within a certain year, and then they got to like track maintenance and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like we had a podcast the night before Thanksgiving, and we called it the After Dark podcast. So we did it, and I threw it out because it was so bad. And
What was it called?
I called it the After Dark podcast. So it was Life on Record After Dark.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Because it was just like us all hanging out, talking, telling stories and stuff like that, And I listened to it the next day, and one of the guys who was on it, he blacked out when we started filming it.
Oh.
And he didn't even remember getting up the stairs, almost falling over the empty banister here, almost taking my gate off the wall, and then getting into his Lyft driver's vehicle. He had a Land Rover. I was like, did you really pay extra for that? He goes, no, you just pick full size. He goes,
yeah, you paid extra for it.
He goes, I don't remember getting in it. He goes, I don't remember getting home. I was like, oh my God. Like,
Did
it was
he puke?
No, he didn't puke. He was a soldier about it. But it was just one of those, like, I threw it out. I was like, this will never see the light of day ever again. Just
good for you.
yeah, I took that one on the cheek real quick because I spent so much time like recording and editing and everything like that. I was like, oh, this is just never going anywhere with that. But for his first part of the podcast, he was good. He was nice and so.
Well, as soon as you called it After Dark.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have somebody there with a sexy voice. So we're here.
Every time we hit those late night radio shows, I'm just like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah. Oh jeez. So obviously, kid growing up in the slow South, enjoying life and doing things like that, and you're very much into science, obviously, because you have a PhD in chemical engineering. And you went to Cambridge. So, like, what kind of brought you up into those spectrums? Like, what were your hobbies as a kid? Did you do sports? What was your education like? Kind of coming through.
No, I played soccer growing up, but I'm a aquatics person. Everything I did was around water. So, swam. I love swimming and everything else. And then eventually, I became a swim instructor, lifeguard.
Wow.
I taught swimming, coached swimming, swim teams, and everything else. So,
did you do that all throughout high school too?
Yeah, all throughout high school. I taught everything from parent taught.
That's interesting.
All the way up to, parent taught. Basically, you're really much on the wall, on the sideline, helping the parents, create an interaction.
Yeah.
You want them to be able to interact and become more close, tightly knit with their infant.
Oh, that's interesting.
So basically, and then with them, we always tell the parents, it's like, you're not here to teach your kid how to swim.
Yeah.
You're here to introduce them to the water. So let them hit the water, let them understand it. Don't worry, it's not gonna be that bad. So
what got you into that? That seems like a specific part of physical activity.
What, swimming?
Yeah, like
I
mean, I swam. Obviously, that's kids swim,
I always got around it. I just loved doing it growing up. I mean, I went to all the classes and it was on swim teams, and just never a dull moment for me when I'm around water.
What kind of events did you do?
Oh, everything. Yeah. I mean, I did freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke.
I
hated butterfly.
I hated butterfly.
No, I hate butterfly. I can tell you right now, I don't like it. If someone asked me today to do butterfly, nope.
Is swimming on the Winter Olympics?
No. Just summer.
Just the Summer Olympics, okay. Yeah, because that's one of the things I do. Whether I'm watching it or not, the Olympics is always on the TV when the Olympics is on.
Nice.
But now we're doing with the China side of things, so I miss like a whole section of it overnight.
Right.
But, wow, that's interesting. So how good were you?
I wasn't that good. I was like...
No states or anything like that?
No,
were you part of a small school or a big school?
My high school started off small, but then the county I was in went through a merger.
Okay.
So we had to merge everyone together and brought everyone. So then we blew up from being 60 to 70 to all of a sudden 300.
Wow.
In a graduating class.
That's big. That's a huge jump.
Yeah. But it posed problems because if you merge schools, you got to go through all the hassle of picking out your valedictorians and salutatorians. And, to me, I was like, just have 2 or 3 if you're going to merge.
Yeah, because you're so
whatever
recent
it is.
Your time, yeah.
There's no point in trying to throw out and go back through and figure out who's a real valedictorian and salutatorian. I was like, whatever. I mean, I was in the top 5% of my class graduating.
Yeah.
But,
Did you guys have those classes that would allow you to have higher than 100% GPA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had above a 4.
It's always so confusing for me. Like, what? It should be a 4. 4 is the limit.
No, well, the reason behind that is if you take AP, any of those AP courses, they're above and beyond what's required by the state. So they want to reward that. So they change the point scale for that. So instead of being an A is a 4, an A becomes a 5.
Yeah, that's...
So you got 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 0 because F's. Yeah. So
it's just so crazy that they figured that in. It's like when you grade on a curve.
Yeah.
Same sort of nonsense.
Yeah. So, but I mean, for me, getting into the pool is like a breath of fresh air for me because it's
therapeutic, right?
Yeah, because it's like I'm in my element, and then I enjoy it because at RIT I do it water aerobics.
I was just gonna say, do you still swim at the RIT? Because you guys got a really nice pool there.
Yeah, I jump in there with the water aerobics. And I love it because it's like. Well, I love it too because they also do the resistance training. So you turn on the jets and then
that's
they make you go one way and it's easy, and then the other way you're like, oh, well, this is really an uphill mountain climb.
That's cool.
So
that's nice being a staff member there though, because you get access to that whole gym area.
Yeah,
that's probably one of the nicest gyms in town. I'd say it even gives like Midtown a run for its money.
What? I don't know.
Midtown's a private club over by East Avenue. Okay. But like just with the amount of facilities and the coaching staff and the educators and the people who are there and everything like that, like it's a great facility.
Oh, nice.
Your facility. That's the one I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But it's just like because I used to go breakdance there with a bunch of the break dancers. You take the dance room in the bottom left corner, and that was and then when I ran track and field and stuff like that, we used to use the field house.
Okay.
That was. It's a good spot, especially. Have you ever done the Red Barn thing over by
No,
school?
I haven't had a chance to do it.
Gotta get over there. It's like $5 or $8 or something like that for shoes and some stuff like that and the service. You just go to the basement, the whole thing's all done up. You get to rock climb down there. It's a different kind of monster.
Do you like being inverted on the wall?
I'm too big for that. I'm too heavy for that, as it were. Down a little bit of weight though, unfortunately, because of the surgery. But that's one of the things we're talking about is for the summertime when the weather gets nicer, spring, summer. On Wednesdays, instead of going to the gym to work out, we're gonna go do something outside, like play frisbee golf or drive some balls, or go to the climb or something like that. Just it always gets so boring doing the same thing all the time.
Right. Exactly. No, I golf. I'm not, and I'm no Tiger Woods. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
But I golf when I get a chance.
Do you go to the one in Chile? Because that's right there. That's a nice facility too.
I got there's some down close to their Southern Meadows, other side of where I live. You got the Riverton Golf Club.
Oh yeah, the Riverton Golf Club right on the corner.
I also go to Mill Creek. I like Mill Creek. I like the view out there. It's like you feel like you're not even in Rochester when you go to Mill Creek. It's like, where in the world am I?
I'm so terrible at golf, but I just usually go for the fun of it because
it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I tell people all the time, just hit the ball.
Yeah, have
even
fun.
Even if the ball only goes like 10 yards, at least you hit it. It's more laughable at that point because you're with friends. So it's like sometimes I get frustrated when it's muddy, and it's like that's my line. I spend so much time getting dirty and stuff anyway, and I just like when I'm at the gym, I wipe everything down before I get on it because I don't want your germs. I won't even share my wife's fork. I don't want her mouth germs. Like those are your digestive enzymes. You keep those. I'll kiss you when you're not eating anymore. You can ask her. It's funny. It's gross. I don't need your stuff. I know. It's just funny when you're hearing that. Just going.
People just don't get it.
Sorry, honey.
Keep your amylase. Keep it in your face hole. So, being part of the higher portion of your school, like what kind of classes were you taking? Where were your interests? Because it's a big step from graduating high school to being like, I'm going to go to Cambridge.
Oh, I mean, MIT.
Yeah. So, that's a big step. Like, how did you figure that out? Like, what classes were you taking? What were your points? And what was your purpose?
So, no, I mean, the classes were the classes. I mean, I wanted to be, ninth grade, I decided I wanted to be a chemie.
Okay.
I mean, I had a great chemistry teacher, Mr. Aikenbrandt. And he basically, it was like he always wowed us and he engaged us. He knew how to keep us engaged and captivated. I mean, when's the last time you actually had an opportunity to actually blow up balloons that had oxygen, hydrogen?
That's a good point. Fire's fun in high school, isn't it?
We go down the periodic table, the far the alkali metals, and we start throwing them in water and see what happens. And then you see say, okay, what's happening here? And then you see okay, start with lithium. All right, nothing. And you go to sodium. Oh, a little bit more of a pop.
Yeah.
Then you get away down to the next one, potassium. Even more of a pop.
Yeah, big pop.
And then, of course, he goes, we're not doing cesium. And we're like, of course, in high school, we're like, what? You said we're going to go down the table.
Yeah.
And so we have barium, and then he's like, no. All right. So he showed it. He had a video monitor, he had the TV and everything set up. This is why we're not doing cesium. He turns it on. And apparently they had whoever it was, I don't know how they did this, but so there'd been the whole, the thing just shattered everywhere, and the screen went like,
oh my God, that's awesome.
I'm going, yep, parents wouldn't like us if we.
Yeah, there's the line. We found it.
We went up to told them, yeah, we blew up cesium, but we blew up half the lab in the process of doing it.
The school's going to need a full remodel on this quadrant. Yeah. That's too good. My wife's cousin, every year for my nephew's birthday, he's giving him the next in the periodic table. He's giving him some compound of it.
Oh, boy.
That is a cool gift to get every year. I was like, what's oxygen?
What is he up to now?
5.
Okay.
Just got to 5.
So, yeah, oxygen's coming up.
Yeah, I was like, oh, jeez, how are you going to do it? So we'll see. Because he was doing for carbon. I was like, just get him a piece of charcoal.
Or go activated carbon. Just be
yeah, I hadn't thought about it. Because for the one he just did, he did it on a Petri dish so that way it bloomed. And then he put it on a piece of glass. He glued it to it so it stays there. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea, Uncle Vince. Good for you.
But, after that, I said chemie, started doing, and of course, being the organization freak that I am and nerdy mindset I have sometimes, I was in the library.
Oh, yeah.
And I told my parents, I want to go to the library. I kept looking. But this is before internet took off. You had to go to the library, find books. You had to do kept reading. And I was like, okay.
I'm part of that gray area where you could use the internet to look stuff up, but it wasn't as good.
Right.
So you might as well just go find an encyclopedia or use a directory and find a book.
Well, when it's nice to actually be in the library and actually read a book.
Yeah.
I tell people nowadays, I tell them, go to the library. Like, but I can look it on Wikipedia. Like, no, go to the library.
Wikipedia is a source.
It's like, go to the library. Take time in the library. Get a book off the shelf and read the book.
Yeah.
It's like, so, yeah. So, after a while, and I said, yeah. So the courses I took, they were all just, I took AP Chemistry. I took AP US History. Never again will I tell anyone to take that kind of class.
AP US History?
It was just, the amount of material was just so dense, and you're just trying to memorize everything and remember everything, and you're just
aren't they trying to take what you would generally learn in 2 years in 1 year plus some?
Yeah.
I think that's how that class works.
Yeah. So it's just like, by the time I got done, I was like, nope. And it just felt dry. I don't know what it was about AP US History.
I think a lot of it's the teacher. And that's because I had really good history teachers, and that's where my fascination for history started. But my cousin has a degree in history, and for me, it was one of those, like, I can't do anything with a degree in history. Apparently, I can't do anything with a degree in hospitality planning.
Oh, no, Mr. Brocha
either,
was animated. When I had Mr. Brocha, he was animated. We all loved him, because it was like because AP US, it was like 8 a.m. in the morning or something.
Oh, jeez.
So
that was my
But he knew how to wake up. He knew how to wake us up. So we were like, all right, well, let's keep going.
He's probably like, I've been up since 4, guys. This is my midday.
So yeah, no, it was just the topic itself. I think it was just trying to read all that, and then you go through all the history, Trail of Tears. You're trying to remember all the history behind it, and you're just like,
it's not the exciting stuff, and that's what gets me. It's there's so much that you could teach us, but they choose not to. And like, I'm putting together a series for an episode of the show where I'm gonna have a bunch of people who are history buffs. We're gonna come in and talk, and I'm gonna list things that you were taught that were wrong. So I'm putting together a chart, and that's going to be the topical thing. And it's going to be like, so what did you hear for this? So that way they can answer, and I can be like, well, this is actually what happened.
Yeah, because that was the thing. It's like, after that, I said, science and technology, yeah. Physics, I learned physics, but I didn't take AP physics. But, all the courses I did take set me up for the next level. So when I got to MIT, I started off in the summer program there where they actually kind of like accelerated you through.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, it was a targeted program. So they wanted to bring it was for underrepresented minorities to help give them a head start.
Okay, so you got to pretty much start school like a semester early, right?
Yeah, it started in the summer. I mean, you didn't do a lot. You maybe got like 2 or 3 classes out of your way at the end of the day. But I mean, it was good because you got to build the foundation, you got to build the community.
Yeah.
Around people, you get to meet people from all over the place.
And you get to spend the summer in Boston.
Although I lived in Baker House. Baker House, the first name should tell you what it felt like.
Oh, jeez. Was it that hot?
It was a brick oven. It was literally, you roasted in the way it was just constructed. It was designed to absorb heat.
Oh, that's gross.
And so in the summertime, there was no like AC whatsoever. You tried to put fans up. You couldn't get anything. Obviously, you had to put the fan pointing out of the window, blow the air out of the window. But that didn't help because everyone else was trying to blow the air out of their own rooms as well. So
there was a suction in my old house where the basement wasn't properly insulated and the attic wasn't properly insulated. So anything above halfway up the stairs to the second floor, it would start jumping like 2 degrees every couple steps. So if you're standing on the main floor, I would say like, let's say it's 70 degrees. Upstairs, it's like 85, 86 degrees.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
So like you'd have the AC pump in and it wouldn't work or anything like that. And we found out it's because the insulation was so bad. All the hot air was wicking and getting sucked. So it was getting pushed from the basement up and then getting pushed up through the house. And it was going so fast that it wasn't giving the time for it to actually settle and then kind of work through the rooms. So I had to have fans because we used to game at the old house in the basement. It was so nice. It was like 65 all year round. My wife's like, why don't you just game upstairs? I don't want to be alone. So we game upstairs and it's, 80, 85 degrees. So I've got a fan pointed at the back door blowing in and then a fan pointed at the front hall blowing that way just to try and push some air through the house.
And you're just like, it's like, but so at that point I was like, all right, I know now this is not, I understand Boston now. I was like, we don't have AC because we don't normally get this hot. And I'm like, oh, I'm from the South. You know what? This is where we learn.
I'm used to this, guys.
So yeah. It's like, got there, got going to MIT, and just kept moving. I mean, I did row. I said I'm aquatic, so I did a lot of rowing. I did sail a little bit because I wanted to learn how to sail.
Yeah.
And then I can tell you right now, to do either of them, especially sailing, you have to go through the boating test because MIT would not let you graduate without proving that you could swim.
So you got to go in there and kind of float around and stuff like that.
Yep. Or if you don't know how to swim, you have to take a class because it was part of a bequeath from one of the generous donors because whose son died because he didn't know.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So part of the requirement was that you have to make every student pass a swim test.
I sink. Ask my wife. I sink.
No matter what.
No, yeah, because we went to Barbados and we snorkeled, and I can't snorkel. I just go right under.
Oh.
And then I'm trying to like get back up because I'm just so dense, and I'm like trying to get up, so I'm like holding onto the boat the whole time. But when we went scuba, I was fine. I dropped in the water. Boom.
Obviously, you could scuba, you got to go down.
Just going up was hard too. I was like, come on.
See, I can't scuba because I have asthma, so
that sucks.
But college is fun. You know, everyone asks me about MIT all the time. It's always funny how everyone's go, it's MIT like they always say, like, it's the death of you when you go in there, and I'm like, it's a love-hate relationship. Period. You go in there, you love it because you're getting a good education.
Yeah.
And you have lots of friends.
One of the best in the country.
You hate it because they torture you to death in a way that you just don't expect. What
do you mean?
So, a lot of times, MIT is a research institute. It's like one of the number one research institutes in the world. So a lot of the professors, they have a lot on their plate.
Oh yeah.
They got a lot of things going on. So you sometimes may not be able to see the professor, especially if you're trying to get questions about things because they have so limited office hours and you don't. So you have to try to email the professor and try to get information. And back then, the email systems we all had this MIT has this intranet thing, and you try to Zephyr and things like that, and it was like, okay, well, whatever, we'll figure it out.
It's like its own private server,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly. So you really have to rely on the TAs. Well,
so wait, what is it? It's your professor, and then there's what's under assistant professors. Under those guys is the TAs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have professor, associate professor, professor in terms of the rankings.
A professor, associate professor,
and assistant professor.
Assistant professor.
Yep.
Oh my God! Why would they associate assistant?
No, because everyone comes in as an assistant.
Okay, so like the TAs are assistant professors,
nope,
right?
TAs are grad students.
Jesus, wow.
Yeah. So,
TA, associate, assistant, professor.
No, assistant, associate.
Oh God, I'm never gonna get this.
In the ranking system. No, in the ranking system, you start off on a tenure track. All right, your goal is to get tenure.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you come in as an assistant professor on the tenure track. So you're in a probationary period. What
is the difference between the assistant, associate, and then the actual professor?
So associate after 6 years.
Okay.
You're up for promotion, and then but at the same time you're also going up for tenure.
Oh.
So there's two decisions there. A, do you get promoted? But also, do we invest in you for the rest of your life? So there's that decision. Now, once you get granted tenure and promotion to associate professor, then you keep moving.
So do the assistant professors work more with the professor or the associate professor?
Oh, everyone works together.
Okay, because that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, if you needed help covering a class or something like that, do you refer to the person right below you or right below them?
It depends on the expertise.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
It's not about well, dump everything on the assistant professors and have them do everything. No. Everyone works together. You look at everyone's expertise and you decide, okay, who's doing what.
That was one of the hard things for me when I started to email RIT and U of R to find interesting professors to show people was I was like, what's an assistant professor? What's an associate professor? What's an actual professor? What's a teacher's assistant? I was like, I don't know who to contact. So I just started sending random emails, and I've had a bunch of people reach out, and they're like, it's just, I don't make enough money, I don't have the time or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm assuming they're probably assistant professors.
Right.
So, and somebody said it's the associate professors that you really want to reach out to because the professors just don't have enough time.
Well, I mean, no one really has enough time, no matter what level you're at. I mean, but that is external to what all our duties are. We have tons of stuff to do.
Well, you guys are academics. You're also doing research projects. You're also trying to, establish papers. You're doing conferences. You're doing meet and greets. You're doing, rosters for the next, semester worth of stuff. You're doing.
Exactly.
You just got stuff all the time.
Yep. And so it's just, when I look at my calendar some days, I'm just like, okay, this is what I have to do today. But then I go, let's see what happens when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like your classes then, how many classes do you teach?
This semester I have 3.
So you have 3 classes. I'm assuming most of them, you're going to have like 2 on the same day, multiple times a week, and then one on one day by itself.
Well, no. For me, I have one that's 4 days a week.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's 2 sections of it. So because we work in a computer lab, we have to split the sections up.
Okay.
So, or split the class up into two sections. Then I have another one, which is my elective course that I teach. That's on a Tuesday, Thursday. And then there's another course that I'm co-teaching with another colleague of mine, but I only teach that in the second half of the semester.
Oh.
So that's a Monday, Wednesday.
Okay. So when do you find time to do like your research work?
That's the other block. Research is 24/7, my friend.
If I'm not doing classwork, I'm doing research.
There you go. It's 24/7, trying to keep things moving.
Because I'm going to get there eventually. But so from Cambridge, MIT, you graduated in your 4-year program, and then you went to Michigan? No?
Nope. Procter & Gamble.
Procter & Gamble. Oh,
Or
that's right.
got some industrial experience under my belt.
So what was that all about? Why go to Procter & Gamble?
Well, the problem is at MIT, I only had opportunity to do like undergraduate research. So I never really got a chance to see the other side, which is the industrial application of all the, of chemical engineering.
Did you get to research anything interesting?
Making bones.
Making bones?
Yeah, hydroxyapatite, bone filler.
What?
That was fun. Also did gas sensors. So, when noxious fumes come out there, you want to create a sensor that can actually detect it.
You just glossed over making bones. You made bones. You made people bones.
Well, it's
You made bones.
it's about creating a more denser bone.
Yeah.
What we did was working on coming up with something that, a material that could fill in. Say, for example, you have, osteoporosis, or some other kind of orthopedic issue.
Yeah.
If your bone density starts going down, that's not good. So is there a way to fill it in? And can you create a material that's porous enough, but also strong enough to be able to, mimic a bone?
So this wouldn't be meant to replace it. This would be meant to repair it or enhance it, right? That's kind of like the guys who punch the hard stuff to break the knuckles down, and then they calcify, and they the pores slowly close up, and they get really dense, right?
Exactly.
Huh. Damn.
That's how you start, though.
I'm gonna need some of that. That's really cool. So then you got to go work with Procter & Gamble, and you got to deal with some like the industrial side of stuff. So what did you do there?
So you use Cascade dishwashing detergent?
Sometimes.
Well, that's what I worked on. I was in a dishwashing detergent.
Oh, cool.
So I did my work. My focus was on the gel side of the house. So we had the powders and the gels. So I did I was at the R&D center, engineering center in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I think that powder's a lot of hokum.
Well, I mean, powders nowadays going out. People still use powder, but a lot of that's more of the old school. Nowadays, it's all about gels or the little pods, the little packs. Which
people are so weird. It's all about the next phase.
Right. So I focused on trying to come up with a uniform sole gel pack. But the problem with that is if you have wet hands.
Yeah, you're going to melt that gel pack.
Before you even get it into the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of complicated. And plus, all the different dishwashers out there have different styles.
Yeah.
For where you plate, so with the cups. So I had issues I had 7 different dishwashers styles. And I had to come up with one gel pack that could fit in all of them and deliver the same amount of product.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that was. So I basically said, give me all the cups. Let's put them all, overlay them on one another.
Yeah.
That's going to be your volume. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah.
But the problem with that is that you have to work with the chemists because they're like, well, if you shrink the volume down, that means we have to either increase the strength of the formula, but you can't just increase the strength of the formula because of regulations.
Oh,
so you have to. So trade-offs. You have to keep thinking about what can I do? What are my limits? Can I exceed the limits? If not, back and forth.
And that's every day. So, that's your summer right there.
Well, I mean, that was my put on. For a full year. I go home, come home smelling like bleach and perfume.
Smell nice and clean, right?
Yeah.
Like bleach and perfume.
But the thing about it is, I had to travel to St. Louis with a manufacturing site because I did have to do work out there. So I got to see the scale up, which is very, very important as an engineer, is that you understand that what we do is to scale up to an eventual product at the end, and being able to see that, I can communicate that in my classes.
That's cool.
So they, I can torture my students when I need to and be like, think outside the box for a second. Let's be practical in how we think about this. Let's not just go up and say, oh, well, I got a flow rate that's the size of Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Are you really going to flow Niagara Falls through your pipe?
Probably not, yeah.
So it's kind of like, I have fun that way when I teach it so that, I'll let them just keep going and get a number and they go. and then I make them have to sit there and think about what they just did. And
I can never remember the formula for trying to figure out how much fluid can go through a pipe at what rate or whatever it is.
you need Bernoulli's equation.
Thank you. I can never remember that either because I'm always like, I just want to know. And then I'm like, I just don't know the name of it because I can't look it up then. I'm not going to Google flow rate through water, flow rate through a pipe. It's just one of those, like, I like to know the name so I can look it up and I can just use it.
Yeah.
It's
Now, you got to get Bernoulli's equation to do that. But, yeah, enough science.
enough science. So after Procter & Gamble, what'd you do?
Then I went to Northeastern. I went back because I realized that when I was working at Procter & Gamble, I was like, can I make a career out of being in an industry? And I was like, no, that's not who I really am. Mm-hmm. And that's the most important thing is understanding who you are.
Yeah.
And, going back to what I said I was doing in my high school days, teaching in the swimming pool, teaching parent tots to 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to adults.
Yeah. So you were kind of carved out for educating from a really young age.
Yeah, teaching church, teaching, and so forth. It was always there. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I love waking up to it when I can get in there, I have conversations. And then, in the midst of the conversation, I didn't know I don't recognize I'm going into a teaching mode, but people at the end are like, wow, I learned a lot with that.
It's kind of who you are. It's just harnessed all together.
Yeah. So I said, before going into college, I told my parents, I was like, I think I want to go to teaching in a college. Mm-hmm. Like, well, you're going to have to get an advanced degree if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But, MIT, they run you through the ringer. And by the time I got done, I was so tired. I was like, okay, I don't want to do any more schooling right now.
Okay.
I'm just tired. That's why I went and go work and say, let me go get the other side. But I finally said, no, I need to go back and finish what I started. So I went to Northeastern University. So back to Boston, but this time on the Boston side, not the Kansas side of the river. So I went to and got my master's degree. But during that time is where I really got into teaching.
Okay.
As a TA, I got involved and, I was able to innovate some new ideas during my process, how to interact with the students, creating online office hours at the time because I saw a need there and I said, here's an opportunity. Let's see if it works.
Okay.
And it took off.
Yeah.
And so after that, then I went did a stint for an internship at DuPont, Wilmington, Delaware. That was the whole Philadelphia driving up and down. And then went to Michigan, and then got my PhD, and then hopped over Lake Erie to Rochester. And to be honest with you, I knew nothing of what Rochester was until I went to a conference in Tampa.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Oh yeah, we're at RIT." I'm like, "What's RIT?"
Oh God.
And they're going, like, "Oh, are you Kimmy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a Kimmy PhD." Like, "Oh, I gotta put you in touch." I got put in touch with the department head. And he got me going, just an up and coming department. I mean, literally brand new at the time when I was talking. So there were lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities to be able to help grow a department, grow it, turn it into what it is today. Yeah. And I'm really glad I came because I learned a lot more about myself, about the academic environment, about being able to say, being you.
Yeah,
and that's the best part. When I wake up every day, I just get in there. My students will tell you, there's no idea what I'm bringing or what's coming.
That's cool though.
When I bring the mystery box in, they're always going, "Oh no."
I love it.
And I'm like,
oh, that's so great. Yeah. So you got your master's, and then you went over for your PhD. So I don't have a PhD, so I don't know what that entails.
So PhD, think of your bachelor's degree as like you're getting a foundation. Okay. Master's adds on top of your foundation. PhD, you're going specializing. Okay. Specialize in a certain area, certain research area. So my PhD was all specialized in something called colloidal science. So think of toothpaste. Okay. Think of it, or complex fluids. Think of it like that. Okay. So I focused on looking at these particles, synthesizing particles, and understanding how they interact with each other. Okay. So, but from a more fundamental level. Because the question is, okay, can I tune these particles to interact in such a way such that they self-assemble into structures that could be used in photonic applications, for example? Huh. All right. And if we can do that, then how do you then you have to say, okay, you can do it on the fundamental level, and we understand why. Mm-hmm. But then how do you make that into an application?
Yeah, like what's the purpose of whatever you're trying to build? Oh, exactly. That's interesting.
So that was my PhD. But I moved away from that when I got into the next thing, which is a postdoc. So that's the next level.
So you spent a bunch of years doing your PhD and this and that.
But I still use it, though, in certain ways. I mean, I talk about it in classes because the the fundamental principles are involved in everything you do as an engineer. You are an engineer.
Okay.
Right now, every day you wake up, you made that coffee, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was a chemical engineering process right there you just did.
Oh, you're being too nice.
No, it is.
I don't want to call most people engineers if they can make coffee.
But my point being is that, chemical engineering is all around you. Everything you do has some sort of chemical engineering tied to it.
Take a shower, brush your teeth, start your car. Yeah.
Yep. So whether you realize it or not, even though you may not have, been christened a chemical engineer, you are doing the things that a chemical engineer does every day.
Just you're doing it on a way more advanced and
but this is why we're versatile.
Scale.
So I'm saying we can be versatile and we can move around. We can say, okay, if I want to go into environmental fields, I can go say, how do chemical engineers get involved in environment? Yeah. Well, that's the kind of the work I do right now for my research, which is water filtration.
Okay.
So how do I improve the quality of water by coming up with new materials?
Is that like when they started to add fluoride to it, or some of the filtration systems used like charcoal or refuel?
Right. So activated carbon or activated charcoal has limitations. Can we come up with something that advances beyond activated carbon? And that's what I'm focused on right now in my research.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so as it continues to develop, I get my undergrads and my grad students involved in it, and I try to paint the picture such that they say, what if you could help someone in a third world country have better water or better environmental conditions? What if you could make that coffee right there sustainable? Yeah. What if you could just recycle the water that comes out? Everyone talks about with the water crisis out west. How do we come up with a renewable way of recycling water, making it more so instead of taking the wastewater and just dumping it, injecting it out? Yeah. Can we clean it up in such a manner such that we can actually recycle it back and push it back in?
Well, they do that in Tampa. A lot of the water that you drink out of the fountains has been drank like multiple times probably that week.
Yeah. So there are things that can continue to build. But the challenge is, all right, what are the limitations? Again, you get nothing for free.
Yeah. Everything comes from something.
There's a price to get everything. So as I tell my first year students, think of the earth as one big giant mass balance. All right, everything you do on the earth has to be accounted for somewhere.
Unless you introduce quantum fluctuation.
Exactly.
That's like
you may say, well, you can throw it out in space, but again, space is the universe, and the universe is still part of the whole system. So nothing you can do is going to go. It comes for free. Nothing you can't just make something vaporize and be like, okay, it's gone away. I don't have to deal with it. Well, no, you may have vaporized it, but it's still there. It's just in a different form.
So how does that relate to like photons then? From like turning on a light, because they don't really exist until you've clicked the switch.
But it's still mass. There's still a certain amount of mass to it. So again, the law of conservation of mass is what we pride ourselves in as chemical engineers, and as well as the law of conservation of energy, because we recognize that everything we do, no matter what, whenever we do a process, you start with raw materials, they get converted into something else, but that conversion doesn't mean the mass has gone away.
Yeah, it's just somewhere else.
Right.
Or doing something else.
And you have to make sure that you've accounted for all of it.
So you seem to have fun with science.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
I have fun from the side of the teaching perspective. I love doing the research, but I look at my research as an extension of my teaching. Yeah. And I always pride myself on being the educator.
Well, you get to use those new things too, like, every day when you're learning something new on your research. Right. One more thing to introduce, one more thing to give them. You give them one more tool that you didn't have back when they were your age. Right. Or something. That's why I always say with like weightlifting or something like that. I was like, I wish somebody had told me exactly what I know now back when I had first started, because I wouldn't have wasted, 6, 7, 8 years doing it the wrong way. But most people didn't know, or most people didn't care to know.
Right. And when did you start?
I started working out when I was like in high school, but okay. I was under 120 pounds at like 5'7" when I graduated. And then I graduated college at like 6 foot, 140. And then finally over time, it took a lot of eating to finally break 200 pounds. But it was a lot of, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I didn't finally really learn what I was doing until I became a personal trainer for a while there, and then I was like, oh, this is the side that interests me. It's like, what does the body do? What are the muscle fibers? How do those work? What do certain ones do here? Everybody's body isn't the same. So my bicep and your bicep aren't, type 1 or type 2 or type 2B or 1B or whatever it is. They're different. Right. I can have a fast twitch bicep, and you can have a type 2 slow twitch. But and then your tricep might be, your fast. It just depended. And it was one of those, I was like, that is awesome. That's what got me going. But when I was younger, I wasn't into science. I wasn't into anything. I didn't like school. I didn't like...
Well, what's your passion?
Not that.
But what is your passion? What do you like doing when you wake up every day? What gets you going?
Well, so I design board games, and I'm probably about 4 to 6 months away from launching my first board game.
Nice.
It's a play on Warlords of Ka'a from Big Bang Theory. I'm just to the point where I have to do my drawing so I can put everything together. But I had to figure out a mechanic for a game that never had a mechanic because they never said the mechanic. So that'll be my first one that I launch. But I have an invention I'm working on. I got to figure out how to get like either provisional patent or something like that so I can try to get it out there. I've been building prototypes and having people test them to see if they work or if they don't work. What's the pros, what's the cons, and stuff like that. So, and then I love this. This is one of my favorite things to do is just show the community all the awesome people who are right around us all the time. And I mean, when I have people on, like some of the people that have come on, I've known. But to me, it's, this is Chris the Hunter. That's how I know Chris. So when I introduce him to people, I'm like, this is Chris the Hunter. And they're like, oh, he's the one who came on the show. He's talking about, the deer and the turkey season and the different stuff here and giving me all the essentials with hunting.
Nice.
Tim, who you mentioned, he's an engineer as well. One of the things that we talked about was him growing up, his parents not liking contact sports, and now as an adult, he plays rugby. So, like, you go through the line and, like, it's not just the person that you've interacted with. It is a person who has a story. And with the exception of racism, this is just an open forum for everyone. Right. And that's the only thing I won't tolerate is anybody saying something negative about somebody else. Yeah. Just leave. That's fine. But this, that, and those, and everyone's like, oh, you can't make money doing that. And it's like, yes, you can. You just got to get the time, get the drive, and figure it out. I mean, my wife has a rescue. They have a pet rescue. They got it to work. That's all the food in her car.
There you go.
That was donated. Like, There's always an audience for your stuff. You just got to find that audience. But as a chemical engineer, your audience is everyone. They just don't know it.
Right.
Which is super cool. Which is like, for me, that's why I was trying to figure out what were the steps that led you to wanting to become a chemie, and then what led you along your trails, because that's one of those, like, that's a big thing to chew off. Like when I started college, I was pre-med, and then I switched to hospitality because the program in my college was like. It took pride in the amount of kids that it like knocked out. It was just so difficult. But I do regret that. If I could go back, I would go back for medical again. And I'd go back for like physician's assistant or something like that because the medical industry is always growing, always needs stuff. But
exactly.
The fact that like you knew when you were in high school, you're like, that's where I'm going. Like that's a big step to take and like have that much confidence in it that you're going to have zero regret. And you obviously have no regret. Yeah.
It was a risk. I mean, at the time, because again, you're talking about 14, 15-year-old sitting there going, I'm going to be a chemie.
Yeah.
It's like, how it goes. Like, when the 5 and 6-year-olds come up, say, career day or whatever.
I want to be a firefighter.
Right,
I want to be a doctor.
Now now you're in high school and you're having to start to think ahead of, okay, what do I want to be? And it's like, okay, well, I'm thinking I love chemistry, but I don't want to be a chemist. I don't want to be behind a bench. I want to be something beyond that. And I said, okay, I like my hand. I like working with my hands. When you deconstruct the curling iron and then try to figure out how to put it back together, but you can't put it back together.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I did that with my mom. That was mom's curling iron once.
This one's really hot. We can cook with it now.
So, but that curiosity in my mind, I mean, I was always using my hands, getting into things, trying to figure out, like, what if I tore this apart? Can I put it back together? What if I did this? Can I put it back together? So I knew, like, just being a chemist wasn't going to make me happy. It wasn't going to satisfy me. But then I said, okay, if I can build something or build a process, build, maybe. But then it went further though, because when I finally got to Procter & Gamble and I said, okay, what do I really want for a career? What is my real passion behind all of this? And that's when the whole teaching piece started coming around and saying, hey, I've been knocking on your door all these years. You haven't been listening to me, kind of thing. But I, just continuously develop it.
Would you agree with me that not everybody is, I would say the majority of teachers are not cut out to be teachers?
Yeah. Teaching, it's an art.
It is.
Let me put it that way. It is an art. And then, people learn how to teach. You have to learn how to do it. Sometimes, though, it can be difficult, especially when you have life's going on around you. You have to be able to slow down. Because there's a word there that a lot of times we struggle with, just as a society in general. Patience.
Yeah, for sure.
Teaching is patience. Because you have to look at people and see how they're doing. And you have to be able to come down to a level here, see where they are, why they're in that position, and then bring them up.
Because not everybody can also learn the same way either.
Right. And I tell people all the time, and one of the number one things I like to do with people is say, I'm here to raise you up.
Yeah.
I'm not here to push you down. I'm here to raise you up. But in the process of doing that means I'm going to challenge you. Mm-hmm. And so when I give you something that seems impossible, well, there's a reason for that, because I want you to get over your fear.
Yeah.
My class is always designed to build confidence. So when they can find their self-confidence to overcome some of the problems I throw at them, that's what I like to see.
So obviously you have multiple classes now. So like, what are you teaching in your classes?
So primarily, what I typically teach is for the first and second years is like the basic fundamentals of chemical engineering.
Okay.
So for example, what is a material balance?
Is this somebody who just got into college, 17, 18 years old? Okay, so you're their intro to chemical engineering, essentially.
So what is a material balance? What is an energy balance? How do we take the material balance for a non-reactive unit and combine it with the material balance for a reactive unit?
Okay.
How do we? So basically, if I have a reactor going on, okay, so I got to make a product. So I got to take these raw materials, I got to put it in a reactor. It's got to react to form the product. Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to come out, but something else is going to come out with it, and that's the unreactive feed.
Okay.
So what do I need to do next? Well, I need to do a non-reactive process, which is a separation unit of some sort. But at that stage, they're not ready for all the different unit operations that come with doing a separation. To them, it's just nothing but black boxes.
So for a basic example, that'd be like photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and solar energy go in, and then out comes oxygen. Water also goes in. So 3 things go in and 1 thing comes out. 3 things go in and 1 thing comes out. So that's technically a chemical reaction, and that's kind of your product is the oxygen. So
exactly.
You're doing the same sort of thing with, we're trying to make this thing here. I'm going to put these 4 things in, and 2 things come out, but I only want 1.
Right. But I also give it, it's not just about the chemistry itself. It's not about going, okay, CO plus O2 goes to...
Yeah.
Or CH4 plus O2 goes to CO2 plus H2O.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's, you got to know how to do that. Mm-hmm. But you also have to know, like, okay, if I have, suppose I'm going to make, jelly.
Okay.
All right. Well, how do I make jelly? Well, what do I need? Well, I need all the raw materials that go into it. That's got to be fed into a mixer. Mm-hmm. Out of the mixer, the mixture comes out. Well, then what? Well, you probably want to, got to make it into some kind of paste, slurry, because it's not. You're not going to have like fluid jelly. No one ever. You're not going to go up to Smucker's and pour out.
Yeah,
that doesn't work. So you got to put it into a chiller. So you got to so you can condense it a little bit, and then you got to add your flavoring, because again, you're not adding your flavoring at the beginning.
Yep.
The flavoring comes down the step. Again, that's a chemical process. Even though I don't have the reactions there, it's still a chemical process, and so I try to move them away from always thinking about just the chemical nature of a process. I want them to see the big picture and say, okay, if I want to make Jell-O, how do I make Jell-O? What's the process of making Jell-O? And then I go through it. And so, and even then making a donut.
Yeah.
How do you make donuts? We go through it. I do it from the small scale, and then I say, okay, we want to scale this up to a large scale. How would we do that? And then we start putting these little units in there, and I say, okay. Now, sometimes I make fictitious situations just because I want them to be able to see, like, everything.
Yeah.
But even though it may not be real, I don't care about that.
It's also like if I tell you, say, how do you make a donut? Like, you've probably figured that out some point in your life. So if you're making up something, it's one of those, like, you're going to take everything you've learned and now you're going to deal with some problem solving skills and try to make up an answer to this. There's probably no real answer, but figure out how far you can get.
You got it.
And that's one of the things that's education. I had a teacher on earlier in the series, and that was one of the things we kept talking about, was how school doesn't teach you how to think.
No.
School teaches you how to learn. Mm-hmm. And learning doesn't promote thinking. Learning promotes learning. Thinking promotes learning. Thinking also promotes thinking. Mm-hmm. So it's the one is just an endless loop on itself, but the other one allows you to do 2 separate entities at the same time. Right. And it's just one of those like it's as simple, and this is a constant reference that everybody makes, is why didn't anybody teach me how to do taxes in high school? Why didn't anybody teach me how to file, do a job application, do a good resume, do a good amount of research? And they think like these little bits and things like that are going to help you, but it's one of those like, where's your real world thing, where it's one of those like, this is how you read a book on your car so you can figure out what's going on. This is how you change a tire. This is how you fix a basic thing in your house. You do this, you do that. It's like they build cogs to go in the machine. They don't build the machine to have cogs go into it.
Right.
So, and what I'm getting from you is it's for you, it's one of those, here's the box. Don't get in there. Stand outside of it and just look at it. Tell me what you see. Like, right. And it's perception. And then from that, you can learn how everybody learns. And then from your teaching approaches, I'm not perceiving that you're very narrow.
No.
Where it's, here's the way I teach. Here's the way I teach. It's, You learn this way. Here, let me help you there. You learn this way. Let me help you there. He also learns that way. So why don't you come over here and I'll help you guys out over here? Like,
yeah, and that's the thing, you have to draw them in. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing about being a teacher. Can you evoke the imagination? Can you get people to see beyond the reality of a situation for a moment? Mm-hmm. It may not physically be there in front of you, but can you see it?
And that's where you're taking that whole don't be in the box thing. Just
right.
Look around, be outside of it.
Exactly. Don't underestimate what could exist. Mm-hmm. The what if questions.
How easily did that come to you, or was that just like totally natural? You were just like, it's it. I got this. This is fine.
In terms of just
teaching different ways, teaching different, how to read people, how to. Everything
I said, I was doing it when I was young. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know it at the time until parents kept saying, you have a gifting for teaching. It's amazing how you're able to take 6-year-olds, who are very rambunctious and want to do everything, and all of a sudden you get them all in line, mm-hmm. and then they have so much fun. They don't want to not leave from the pool because they want to keep playing around. Even though time's up, they have to leave. They don't want to leave.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, like with that much support behind you, one could have guessed that you could have just gone for a basic sciences degree in chemistry, gone for your master's, and gone and taught high school. Mm-hmm. And you took it to the next level. You took it to where am I most critically needed? What am I going to most critically enjoy? And where can I be a benefit?
Right.
And I'm going to go further than that to get there because I know that I can help somebody else. And even if you help just one person, that's it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. For me, it's not about necessarily reaching the masses all at one time. Mm-hmm. It's about building those connections. Start with one person. They're going to connect you with someone else.
Yeah.
They're going to connect you with another person. And then you start building this web.
Yeah.
It's growing. And then eventually you have all these people who you've helped and you probably didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. And then, when I get emails from students I didn't even think I impacted. You send me emails, you really changed everything. You've been a driving force. You've been a catalyst for where I'm going now.
That's got to keep you going too, because it's not going in vain. You're doing work, and not only are you doing your research work, but you're also helping kids to figure out. And I say kids lightly, but you're helping out kids to take the step, make sure they're taking the right direction, and help get them the fundamentals. Whereas I guarantee you, they could throw a teacher in there who could just be like, "Here's the fundamentals. Open up your book, read that chapter. We're going to talk about that chapter. Read the next." And that's probably one of the worst ways to learn. Once again, you're not teaching someone, you're teaching them to learn.
Right.
And that's not the best way to do anything.
No, it's not. I mean, problem solving is about getting people out of their comfort zone. And as I told students on the first day, all right, my job is going to push you to your limit. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to force you out of your comfort zone. You need to get comfortable not being in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That is the only way you're going to grow. And when you're first encountering that, and you're like, it can be intimidating. Mm-hmm. And, but what I try to get them to, there's an intimidation factor there, but I try to slowly but surely get them to understand, no, I'm here as a guiding hand. All right, I'm not here to intimidate you to get out as a major kind of thing.
Yeah.
Run for the hills. No. I mean, I've shown videos. I have a video I show all the time. First, especially in my second year group, I show it to them just to make sure that they understand that, you do have to work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen that video before. It's from Fame. Have you seen Debbie Allen? Mm. Oh, she has a famous speech in there. It's always great, and I love it because I think she showed why she was a teacher.
Yeah.
Why she wasn't there just to make them to be the next, big hit.
Yeah.
On Brian. She said, "No, I'm here to teach you about life." That's basically what she said. You want to get fame, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
And that means it starts with you. And so that's the message I send. It's like, you are your own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. I'm here to be the guiding hand.
Yeah, you're the only one who can get in your own way.
Right. So if you trip up and fall down and you don't want to own up to it, well, that's your own fault.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Anyone else's. So I lay the message down hard, but at the same time, I'm also there as the comforter when they start being stressed starts coming.
Yeah, because you've seen it enough times now. You've been with Rochester Institute of Technology for 8 years now, give or take.
Yeah.
Going on 8 years. That's a long time to be with the company.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the school's growing. You were part of a brand new department back in the 2010s, roughly, and then you got to be part of that boom right there.
Right.
grow, because that campus has grown too
Yeah,
significantly.
it's significantly growing. Yeah.
You guys are one Wegmans away from being your own populace center.
I mean, we got a new building going up there, the Magic Center. It's a Media Arts and Graphics
that's
Institute
cool.
Center. I got this big building that's going up right there in the front part of the campus. So I don't know, what other buildings are coming. I don't know. I mean, there's more.
It's a big plot of land.
Well, actually, Austin Record just gave that $50 million gift.
Wow.
So there's going to be another building going up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bought the Kodak building up the road and knocked that baby down and built another site. Because I bet you they have the money to do it. And if anybody's going to do it, it's them.
And the question is, what goes there? What do you put in there?
Just another thing. They'll just add another college to it. Because it's just it's like the entity for Rochester. It's RIT. Everybody knows RIT. And, you're part of that unit there, the growth there. So have you ever worked on anything that you're like super interested in? Like where it's like, what? And like it just keeps confusing you because it's just so interesting. You just keep going.
Not science related.
Not science related?
Puzzles.
Puzzles.
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh, I mean Sudokus or any kind of like crossword puzzles or just basic puzzles. Like if I get a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
I will sit there and stare at it. And I know we all love going around the edges and pulling that together first, but for me it's about, can I find that middle piece?
Yeah.
And then is there a way for me to visually connect the rest of the pieces together?
Have you seen those puzzles that don't have edges?
No, I haven't seen those.
That's all for you. You go right ahead with that.
Oh, okay.
They carve them out of wood, and then the way that they do the color pattern is the ones that I've seen, they go from like pink to purple to red back to pink. But any way you build it, it's the outside. Right. So you can build it so it's red to pink to pink, purple to purple, whatever the line is, but there's no edge. And then so laterally there's no edge, and then vertically there's no edge. So you could technically build the puzzle over like this on itself, build it at a diagonal by itself. I was like, somebody did some magic here. That's some voodoo stuff right there.
Voodoo.
It's like those 3D puzzles too.
Yeah.
Those are a pain in the tuchus.
Yeah, that's interesting looking at those 3D puzzles sometimes because you have to not only do the X, Y.
Yeah.
Now you have Z to consider. And you're like, okay, well, where's the middle of the whole thing so I can try to build around the Z axis?
Yeah. I'm always fascinated when I meet other people who love puzzles. That's one of the reasons I love like designing board games is because every time you get a puzzle and you have to figure the puzzle out and then you got to do the next puzzle. And obviously the board games industry has taken a huge jump lately from being just like, Milton Bradley and Parker Brothers and all that to being like these in-depth, like quick play, 90-minute, 2-hour games or whatever it is. And they're detailed and they're designed well. And it's like, there's always a problem that somebody else had to solve versus where it's Monopoly or something like that. And you're just, here's these simple rules, roll the die by the property, do it the space size. Mm-hmm. So then you got these people who put in these ingenious systems and you're like, that's fascinating. It's just so much that goes into stuff nowadays, way more. And I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that we have so much more availability or ability to do these things as a career rather than before they could only just be a hobby. Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't have the time to do it.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm always dreaming. I'm always dreaming when I can visualize puzzles in my head or I can visualize problems in my head and I'm always coming up with something unique and I'm always like morphing it into something different.
Were you like that when you were a kid too?
Yeah. I mean, my parents would tell you I was always creative, always drawing, always doing things.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, how about this? And then that's the same thing that goes when you're a musician too. Mm-hmm. I'm a musician. I write music.
Oh, no way.
I play tuba and trombone. I sing baritone bass. So for me, I translate the creative part into the technical pieces, and I blend them together, and I create this hybrid. Mm-hmm. And it becomes this thing that sometimes people are going, where in the world did that come from? And I always stop and I say, I don't know. It
just built itself.
It just popped in my head. So whenever I'm always having music notes running in my head, and again, music is a puzzle. Yeah. Because you just can't. You can write a song one way, and then someone else come in and rearrange it, and it's still the same song. Uh-huh. It just has a different flavor. It could be more, monotonic. It could be very blah. Mm-hmm. If it has a minor chords in there, it can be like just like dark. Yeah. So, depending on the person's mood, but it's the same song in that it's still captivating what the overarching theme of the song is supposed to be. But yeah, I love it because I'm not the dark kind of person. I like the more upbeat, get into it. If there's a little bit of jazz notes into it, or if there's a little bit of pop, am really more thematic in the music I like to hear. So
what kind of music do you listen to then?
I'm pretty much everything. I got Christian music, I got pop, jazz. I listen to a little bit of rock, country, a little bit of country here and there. So I mean, I don't restrict myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people love to say like I'm this kind of
I'm a country music guy.
and I go, you country is only one form of music. You're far more than that. Everyone likes every type of music. It's just that we all have our senses that tell us like, okay, I really love this, but but can I tolerate this over here? Like, can I tolerate rap?
Yeah.
I can tolerate rap to a point.
There's a limit. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like at a 6. I'm at like Tupac. Anything harder than that, I'm like, we're gonna back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Take me some Chris Brown.
Yeah. So, that's the thing about music. Is like, music is also everywhere around you.
Oh yeah.
You just again, being able to visualize what's going on, being able to step out of that box, being able to see what others are looking at inwardly. You looking at it from the outward perspective. It changes everything, and then you're able to adapt. You're able to change. Be able to move around here and there. So, and you just learn it. And I've learned how to adapt a lot.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now.
So how did music affect you growing up? Because I know to a lot of people, music is kind of like an escape. So like as someone who didn't really like music till high school, even though I was playing in bands and I was in jazz band and I was in I played cello and saxophone, like I didn't like music at all. And then when high school kicked in, I got more music than anybody else did, just because I fell in love with it so hard. So for me, it was like, that's my emotion at the time. The song that's on right now, that's me this moment at times. Like, how did music affect you growing up?
For me, music was me.
Yeah.
It's what I came home to every day from school. I started playing trombone in third grade.
Wow.
And then come home and then I'd be like humming a tune saying, okay, how do I get my voice to match my trombone?
Yeah.
I was always trying to find ways of like making myself sound like the instrument itself.
Huh. That's cool.
But also, I had music strewn out in my room growing up. I mean, there was everything. Back then, the vinyls.
Yeah, I still have them all.
And then the CDs and everything else. I mean, it was just shelves lined with it. But if you look at the music I had, it wasn't just one style of music. I had a bunch of jazz CDs. I had a whole bunch of Christian CDs. I had a whole bunch of other, soundtracks, for example. And it was funny is that, when I listen to the soundtracks, you hear a lot more about flavor in the music.
Yeah.
Than if you just looked into rap, like Tupac. Or
because they've got to set that tone for whatever the sequence is. Like the second Batman movie with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Hans Zimmerman did insane work on it. And you just listen to it and you get like the emotions with you. You're like, I know what he's doing right now. He's going to go jump off the building. You're like, like they do so good sometimes. Like Family Guy, whoever the composer for the show Family Guy. You're like every episode you're like, all right, let's do it. You're all happy and stuff. It's the same thing. He's just so good at doing that. And that's like the music connection. That's why I was asking everybody, like, what it was music like for you growing up? Like, how did it affect you? Because for everybody, it should have had a major impact on you. It should have been self-expressive.
It brought joy.
It should have been. Yeah,
it was like, for me, music for me is always about joy. Even when I'm driving, I mean, like, I'm driving here, I got music going in my head, and you got the song blasting in this, on my iPod. When music is going, I'm transported to another world.
Yeah.
I don't care anything around me. I'm like, okay. So sometimes I'll miss phone calls because to me, I go, it's my outlet. It's one of my outlets, and so I can use music to be able to just block out everything else going on and be like, all right. And then and as I'm listening to different types of music, and if it's a soundtrack for somewhere or music from a soundtrack, I'm really gone because now I'm listening to that music not just to hear the music, the song itself.
You're also picturing it.
And saying, how do I rewrite this? Wait, you could do this better. Or maybe we could do this. Or here's a scene or I can visualize a scene that's going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing about music for me. Music is my getaway in the moment. All right, and that's one of it. Traveling is my other getaway.
I was just going to ask about traveling.
Yeah.
So, like, where have you been then?
Let's see. In the United States, pretty much all the states except for the middle. Right. I haven't been to the Dakotas nor Nebraska.
Don't go to the Dakotas. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Don't go to the Dakotas. Everybody says North Dakota is like the next Silicon Valley, but if it's like 10 degrees here, it's like negative 30 there. You're like, I'm not willing to do that. You think Green Bay's cold?
I mean, I've been to Idaho, I've been to Wyoming, and
is this for like conferences and stuff or vacation?
That's vacation. That's like, I have friends out there, and being able to catch up and see different parts of all the states. I mean, or up and down the West Coast. Mm-hmm. I've been to Hawaii, been overseas wise. I've been to UK, Ireland, France. So I've been over, gotten to some places overseas. I still want to get, I haven't gotten to Alaska yet. I need to get up to Alaska.
Alaska is one of those ones I know a couple people used to love up there. They go, you go during the summertime because you don't want to be there in the wintertime. And I
want to see the midnight sun. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Where everybody's like, you walk out somewhere at midnight, it's just sun, and you're like, come on, nature. Oh, but remember, the earth is flat, so there's not 30 days of pure darkness in Alaska. But they also have some like the best fishing and stuff up there too, which is great for a lot of people. I don't know why people would live there all year round. It's probably got to get bad up there in the winter. I
just think for me, it's just more of, can I deal with only 4 hours of daylight or less?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we've gone to Barbados twice now, and we said the next time we go, we're going to go somewhere like with the resort or something like that. And Barbados is gorgeous, but you don't go there for the food. And that's what I always tell everybody. I'm like, it's going to be a little more expensive, and then the portions are smaller, and then it's just you don't go there to eat because the way that the island is and the coral reefs, so like they can't really grow anything, so everything's got to be way more expensive than it is here. But for the views, for the smell, for the the taste of the environment and everything like that, and the people, like it's pretty wonderful over there. And I always tell everybody, for a little bit, you can get an Airbnb, just go, a few days, just relax.
Nice and relaxing, yeah.
Yeah. You go. Do you have like a preference for vacation spots?
No, not really. I mean, I'm an adventure seeker, so if I can find something, if I can go whitewater rafting somewhere, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done 3s and 4s.
Are you a winter sports guy?
No, I'm not. Just while I like seeing people go up and down like the ski slopes and everything else, snowboarding, I just never got into it.
No, it's scary. I'll tell you, it's scary.
Snowboard or you ski?
I have a snowboard. I stopped skiing after I got a double concussion.
Oh,
so I went to the more dangerous one. Yeah.
Or the one that's not classy, as they like to call it.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, you're a snowboarder, aren't you?"
Well, you remember. I don't know when snowboards first came out. There was such an aversion to them on the ski slopes that everyone was like, snowboards had to have their own slope.
Oh yeah.
So that the people who skied didn't feel offended.
It's a bunch of thugs. Those skaters are taking it from the roads to the slopes.
But now everyone loves snowboarding, just watching them go up and down.
Wait for the next evolution of winter sports because they've got skis, they got snowboards. I was like, there's going to be something else that's going to surface, and it's going to be another game changer.
Who knows? Snowmobiles going down.
Snowmobiles going down. That's got to be exciting. I've never been on a snowmobile. I've been on a jet ski one time with my wife, and I told her the next time I do it, I would be doing it by myself because she's crazy.
Yep. So
once again, that's the out of control thing. Let me do this. I don't want to be behind you while I was like, there's no seatbelt here. I can't grab onto her. There's no handles. I was like, you hit one of these wakes, just like a 2-foot, 3-foot wake, I'm going in, and I'm not coming back up.
There you go.
Because I sink.
Well, when I see tree wells and people are talking about, you be careful about tree wells, I'm like, this is why I don't go on slopes.
Tree wells?
Yeah. So basically, like if you go like in the back countries, like a lot of times there's a lot of snow. There's a well around the base of a tree that if you get in there, if you go in there inverted.
Oh, so like where the snow kind of sinks in a little bit. Oh, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
And I was like, nope, you're not gonna find me going anything in the back country where I don't know where I'm going.
So, do you have any other scientific interests other than obviously being a chemical engineer? Because I would guess that with the love of science and the love of music, the love of art, and the love of the other sciences would probably be right there. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, well, bio, no. not a biologist.
Not a bio guy?
No. I mean, physics, yeah. I grew to hate physics going through college. So,
Did you have to take physics classes or bio classes when you were going for your degree?
Yeah, there are requirements, General Institute requirements. So,
okay.
Yep, got to go through that, and then you put yourself to the torture of learning punchers, the squares and trying to figure out, okay, what's the probability of having, the kid coming out having red hair versus black hair. And
with your box where you're like, here's our hereditary, here's our recessive. Yeah.
Yep, and all that. And I was like, not a fan of it. Not for me. Physics, it was just more of, okay, do I really want to become a electrical engineer when I short circuit the entire dorms and blow out the power?
Yeah.
No joke. That.
No way.
Well, I didn't understand soldering. And I soldered incorrectly. And
oh, geez.
So when we plugged it in, it blew the circuit. And
that's awesome.
So I was like,
quite the story.
Well, I was like, well, I guess I'm not meant to be a physicist or an electrician of any type.
Yeah. Because physics was, I didn't get into sciences till after I graduated from college. And then after my car accident, because that's when I started to get into physics. Because I never found that I liked it the way that the teachers taught it or what they were teaching. Because to me, you can tell me, equals MC squared. And to me, because I have multiple learning disabilities, it's going to go in, it's going to dingle about for a little bit, it's going to leave, and then because I'm partly deaf, it's going to go in. I'm not going to realize it went in, and it's already leaving. And it's one of those, you got to get my attention with something. That's how it works. So like I've read the Physics of Superhero book a ton of times because he gives the examples. I'm a huge superhero nerd. Like I have a comic book collection back here that's hilarious. But for me, it was one of those, I need stuff to be relatable to things that I enjoy. So physics with automobiles, physics with, superheroes, physics with general activities. And like the brain puts stuff together, and you always know that there's not just one way to do it unless it's, oh God, Kyle, you're so stupid right now. Theoretical physics. Otherwise, there's probably multiple ways to get to the end result, and it's, can you get there? Like with math is always definite. The answer is this. It's always going to be this. So with physics, as long as you could get there, that's the answer. Same thing with chemistry. It's the answer, but there's more than one way to do it. And that was what I started to get a grasp for, was because I was so worried that here's the way, that's the only way. And I couldn't get my head around that. And it's like with military strategy, for my love for history, it was, you can take the low road, you can take the mid road, you can take the high road. It's going to take you longer to do this, shorter to do this. This is this and this is that. Where it's, I want to know all the options. I don't want to just have one plan. I want to know all the contingencies to every single thing that can go on, and then why they work the way they work. But when you're taught that in school, that's not how it is. It's, here's this, A through Z, learn that, done.
So it's funny when was your car accident?
I had a car accident in 2011.
Head-on collision or just?
I got the back end of my car got clipped going around a corner, and I went off and I spun a couple times. I hit a bunch of trees and I flipped it a bunch of times.
But you say you had learning disabilities too, and so you're...
I don't tell anybody that though.
Yeah.
I don't use it as a crutch.
No. But you understand adversity.
Yeah. But most people don't know that when you're having trouble learning or doing something, that it's partly you, and it's also partly the way they're trying to teach you, which is why most of the time I learn better on my own.
Okay.
Because I can figure out what does and doesn't work for me.
Right.
Which is why I like doing the board game stuff, because I can figure it out. Like I've had points of time where I first started trying to design the board games, where I'd reach out, I'd be like, hey, I need your help. I'm trying to solve this problem. And then most people can't put themselves in that situation. It doesn't help that I've already been in it, and I've already discovered 12 or 13 situations and tried to figure out the math for it, and they're going to come in completely blind. That doesn't help. But the other way is, I know the pros and the cons of both situations all the way down the line already, and when you come in, you're going to have to now learn the situation, learn your pros, learn your cons, and then you don't see the same vision. So it's one of those, I can't teach the same way that I learn. I have to teach a different way than I learn, because most people aren't going to understand it. They're not going to understand that the moment I saw the problem, my brain is already firing, trying to assemble as many things as possible. So that way, when one thing happens and it doesn't go the way I want it, I've already got backups. And a lot of people want to take the simple way. There's not a simple way for a lot of these things. So, and that's why I was fascinated with your teaching as well, is because you deal with tons and tons of different ways that people learn. And then you have to adapt.
Right.
And that's what makes you an outstanding teacher. That's an award.
So back to the adversity piece, because I was like, you were talking about that. So you've been sitting here all this time, but you haven't been noticing. You can do this, right?
Mostly, yeah, with this arm. I was going to ask you about your arm, yeah.
Let's take a trip down memory lane for a moment.
Okay.
Let's go back to 1999.
Okay.
In between my sophomore and junior in college. Head-on collision. 18-wheeler.
Oh my God.
Take your body, cut it like this.
Yeah.
Didn't have a left half.
Holy shit.
Dead on arrival.
You?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're talking to a dead person.
Was this in Boston?
Nope.
This would have
Atlanta.
been Atlanta. Oh my God.
Yep, going to pick up my dad. 2 days before Father's Day. Going to pick him up from work because he let me borrow the car. But
Yeah.
never made it.
Oh my God.
Happened on an access road about a quarter of a mile from his work.
What?
I have no memory. All
Holy crap.
All I know is that I was going there.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, it's several days later, and I'm in a hospital bed with my left leg moving in a machine by itself.
Oh God.
My left arm in a big giant thing.
Yeah.
My right arm having a fixator on it.
Yeah.
No brain or spinal cord injuries.
Holy crap.
Grace of God. Second chances.
Wow.
So, adversity.
And that's what the scar is from, is they probably had to,
Yep.
yeah, went all the way up. Holy God.
14 hours to rebuild me.
Oh.
And when I say rebuild, I do mean rebuild. But the rebuilding was only the start of the adversity.
Yeah. Because at this point, you're not even in college now.
Well, technically, I shouldn't be alive
Yeah.
because, I should be 6 feet under. I was in a wheelchair. I was declared handicapped.
Yeah.
But I said no.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to allow that to stop me.
That's that being a statistic thing. You're not a statistic.
Well, technically I am because no one survives that kind of accident that I survived.
Did you get hit? You got hit on that. That means you got hit on the driver's side.
Yeah, I went into the cab of the truck.
God.
But I have no memory. I don't know what happened. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, getting back on my feet and constantly having the pessimism and everything else being thrown at me because I'm an optimistic person. I was just like,
Yeah.
that was clashing because everyone kept saying, oh, you're not going to be this. You're not going to be able to walk for 2 years. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And it just kept going. It just kept throwing at me. And I was like, look, I'm going to get back on my feet. I'm going to graduate on time with my class. I'm going to do it. Because they didn't want me to go back to college.
Everybody likes to tell you how to live your own life, don't they? Everybody likes to give you not even just their opinion, but the answer. And you're like, that's not the answer. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right, exactly.
That's what bothers so many people are so negative. It just frustrates me so much. Just shut up and be happy. You're here. Have you been here before? Because I'm here.
Well, you're not a negative person. I can tell that when I first met you.
It's so frustrating.
You're a positive. You're an optimistic person. You're a go-getter too. You know how to.
It's that whole, is the glass half empty, half full? I just say, maybe the glass is just too big.
So
that's interesting. Wow, how hard was that to get back though? I mean, you're a kid. You've just been through a really horrible accident. You have to relearn how to use your left side, your leg, your arm, walk. Did you have any paralysis or anything like that?
it was temporary. It's called hemiparesis, which is temporary paralysis. So I had that status on me. Everything else. I was 20-year-old trying to get back, college and everything else. I walked within 3 weeks of that accident.
What?
It was supposed to be a 2-year recovery process.
What?
I told you.
And this is you probably got rods, you probably got things through your leg holding everything together, repairing the bones and joints and knees and hips and what?
Hi.
That's fascinating. Because so with my car accident, I don't beat that at all. That's next level. That's scary. That's treacherous. And I am extremely happy you made it because with my accident, I had a guest in the car and he got away with a bruise on his chest from where I slammed my hand into him, apparently. And then I got away with a concussion. I had a seizure. I severed a bunch of arteries in my arm here, and then I shattered my clavicle. The car did one of these around us.
Oh, okay.
But my cousin was driving behind us, and he saw the back end of my car get hit. And he saw me spinning, and then he saw me flipping and hitting trees. So that's the reason the EMTs got there early enough, was because my cousin was literally right there. Because I was bleeding out. I lost 6 gills of blood or 5 gills of blood. I think it was 5. So I was phasing in and out the whole time, and then my recovery was 8 months before I could go back to work, just because of how bad the injuries were there, all the nerve damage and the paralysis, and that's the same thing. And as somebody, I can tell you're an extremely optimistic person. The depression hits you, and you do everything in your power not to let it do anything to you. And everyone's like, oh, are you okay? Do you need help? It's like, can you stop reminding me? Let's just have a conversation about what's going on right now. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. I don't need to talk. Because then, like, you explain what's going on to people, and they're like, oh, why are you so disconnected from the problem? It's like, I've explained this 100 times to people already. I was like, I don't need to do it again. Because you have, like, the story down. You know what happened. Right. Here it is, beginning to end. Here's 10 minutes. And then you get it down to 30 seconds, and people are like, oh, why you just don't seem to care as much. It's like, no, that's not a thing anymore. That happened. It's done. Right. Like, I'll tell you what it was, but if you want to worry about it, you go home. I'm not going to lament on it anymore.
Right.
And there you are, right there. Take the steps. You let your positivity take you through, and you go to you graduate on time. You go to college, real prestigious school, and you just start nailing stuff off. It was a bump.
Again, adversity.
Yeah.
And that's something I brought forward in my teaching. Mm-hmm. All right, it's about being able to challenge them to say, okay, you're going to face adversity. Mm-hmm. I don't care where you are, what you think. Don't think you're going to cruise through this. You're not going to cruise. But if you can't take the punch in the gut mm-hmm. and realize how to recover from that punch, we need to take a step back and think about life.
Yeah. Because
there's far more to life than just getting a degree, going to get a great job, enjoying life as however life may be.
Yeah.
No, you're going to have struggles. And when you see the dark side of life coming, what are you going to do? The what ifs.
Yeah.
And I continue to challenge people with what if. What if you could get back up on your feet? Mm-hmm. What if you could start a massive radio studio? Mm-hmm. What would you do with it?
Yeah.
How would you change who you are? I hope you wouldn't change a lot, but
that's why it was interesting that you asked me. You were like, "What would you enjoy doing?" Mm-hmm. Because that was the big change for me. I was so geared. You go to high school, you graduate, you go to college, and then you go get a job in your field. And I had that mentality right to that point, and then ever since then, that's been fading away. And it's one of those like, what would I enjoy doing for the rest of my life? And it was, I didn't have much money growing up, so I don't need money. Mm-hmm. I would rather do stuff that I enjoy and be able to live minimalistically,
right,
the same way I do now, than have a fortune, put 80 plus hours a week into it and not be able to enjoy my life. Because everyone's like, well, if you grind now, you can relax later. And it's like, yeah, but you just missed in this finite thing. You just missed all the way up to your 50s, and now you get to enjoy life with your decaying body. What were you doing for those other 30 years? Tell me about the stories of things that you enjoyed. Like, I would rather have good times, good experiences, and nothing than have everything and no time.
Right. There you go.
And that's why I was like, just tell everybody, like, it's a silly thing that I want to do is the invention and the board games, stuff like that. They're silly. They're hilariously silly. But people make money doing stupid stuff, selling a pet rock.
But it shows your creativity.
Yeah. As long as you're happy doing it. One of the guys who came on recently is a comic book artist. He enjoys it. He loves it.
Yep.
He stays home. He gets to see his kids. He works all night while they're sleeping. He does stuff in the morning. He loves what he does. He's not making a fortune. He's not Stan Lee, but he loves it.
Right. No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else.
It's true. It's very true. But most people want to do what someone else does or be where someone else is. Like, you see it a lot in sports where they're like, oh, he's going to be the next Randy Moss. And my first thought is, why doesn't he just be the next him?
Right. That's what I say whenever I see the stuff. They always, the hype they do, especially with the ESPN 300 high school thing. I'm like,
ESPN 300,
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't bother listening to it. I don't bother caring about it because I'm like, I want them to be them. Don't put all this hype in their head, making them think that they're the next stud or whatever. Let them figure it out on their own.
But as these things change too, the being that next person for whatever it is, it's not going to matter because everything is going to be better than it was at that time.
Right.
And
well, that's the thing. That like, oh, is this person? How does this person compare to Michael Jordan? How does this person compare to someone from the 70s? I'm like, why are you trying to tie all these things together?
Yeah.
Let them be independent of each other.
Yeah,
they're all errors.
It's like you're not your parents and your parents are not their parents.
Right.
So why would you compare them?
Right. It's like what every era has its own special being, own special gift.
Yeah, you're super athletes or whatever it is.
Let it be. Don't try to tie everything together saying, oh, we need to make this comparison, make that comparison. You know how they've been trying to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan and whatever, and I'm like, okay, hang on here. Let's stop.
They are not the same person. They're not even from the same franchise. They're not even from the same planet. Like,
it just let it be, and this is the kind of stuff I get kind of tired of, especially with sports nowadays. It's that we want to overhype
Yeah.
keep that overhype going, and it's like, well, why? Why not let it just be? I mean,
Yeah.
I like when I turn on a TV station or watch the NFL on Sundays. Sometimes I'm forced to mute that because of all the I don't want to hear the commentators. I just want to see. I want to see the game.
The mic'd up. That's the stuff you want to watch. Like after the games are over, you can get the mic'd up. So,
Because what I want to see is just let it play itself out, and then I can make let me form my own opinion of what happened. Not have someone telling me, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that.
Because it's always easy to say it in hindsight. Captain Hindsight from the comic books. He always knew the answer afterwards.
Right, exactly. So that's why I say, just let people be who they are and let them unfold.
That comes to me as the primal aspects of humanity, where it's one of those, like, I have a really bad inferiority complex, and I've had it since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And the only way I used to get over it was I would find flaws with everybody else before I would talk to them. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to relate to you on a person level, I needed to figure out what was wrong with you, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be verbally, education-wise, whatever it was, so I could feel like we were on the same playing field. And that was the only way I was able to talk to people, which is why I didn't have friends until I was in middle school. I started getting a couple friends here and there, and then high school, I knew everybody because I was able to compartmentalize their problems that made me feel better about myself. And as an adult, I'm way better at doing it, but I don't use it anymore. I don't have that. I still have the issue, but it's one of those, like, my brain does the process. I know you have a problem here and there. And then when you make me mad in my brain, I'm just tearing it apart. I'm like, oh, this is your biggest problem. This is, you didn't get enough breast when you were a baby. Like, it breaks it down so fast. And then my brain's like, we're already, we know the answers, but it's that primal thing with people. People want to compare themselves to other people. Who's the alpha? Who's the beta? Who's the gamma? Who's the delta? Whatever it is. But everybody, secretly or out loud, I'm better than you. I'm worse than you. How can I be better than you? So they don't care about the end result. They just care about the interim where they know they're better than you. And that's, once again, that comparison. Who's the next Randy Moss? No. Who's the next stud right now? Mm. And what makes them a stud?
Exactly.
But once again, everybody wants to compare.
Well, I mean, look at it. You got the new Hall of Fame class now, and now it's like, okay, is this person going to be just like this person who's going into the Hall of Fame? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. That person is starting their career now. This person's been out of their career for many years.
And as everything evolves, too, you get different stipulations. And that's the other big thing, too. And that's with life. That's with the auto industry. Look at the auto industry with the regulations they have now on emissions, how different the cars are. Everything that goes up, where we're like, everything should get a turbo. And now they're like, everything's getting a turbo. Like, because they're trying to get these, because everything's changing and you have to change with it. That's the evolve or die sort of mentality.
Adapt or else.
Yeah. And it's frustrating when people kind of want to, like, hook hold other stuff. You see it a lot with, like, Congress and Senate and stuff like that, where, Johnny from yada yada, he's been in, Senate for 40 years or something like that, and you're like, well, he's not going to change anything. He's been doing the same. He's been having the same alphabet soup for lunch and ranch salad every day for 40 years. Like, that guy's not changing at all. And that's where it comes in, and it's one of those, like, if you are of the people, you should be of all the people, not of the person.
Right.
Get your representation right. Shorten your terms. Shorten the amount of terms you can have so you can get fresh blood in there. It's preposterous how long some people are in office.
Change is coming in a very abrupt way.
You think so?
Yeah, I think everyone's realizing we need younger blood.
Yeah, but everybody is realizing that, and still it's taking a long time to change.
Again, who has the courage to challenge?
That's the problem, too, is when you have people who are going back and looking through, the Declaration of Independence and the laws that were instated up front with the actual descriptions for them. And it's one of those, like, the right to bear arms came from the ability to defend oneself. And because of the way things go with the irresponsibility of humans and all the other nonsense that goes on with that, you really don't have a right to bear arms anymore because you are a threat to yourself just as much as you are a threat to society. And, the Founding Fathers, I bet didn't, think about, rapid fire machine guns and stuff like that back in the day as like a simple state. But it was also, the right to bear arms was your ability to defend yourself against your government.
Right.
Because if something had to change the way they had to change, you need to be ready for it.
Right.
And it's to, like, nowadays, no. If there was a revolution like that, you would have millions of Americans just dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, we can't keep up with you. You have tanks. How do I fight a tank? Some household orange juice and gasoline or something? Like, you just don't know what to do.
Right.
So you
Exactly.
have to try and do it the more peaceful way, which is we're an evolved, we're an enhanced species now. It's we do these things through words. Words doesn't work all the time. You can just ignore them and go on about your business.
Exactly.
Same thing we're talking about with blocking out the negative stuff. Like you say it, go on, get it out. I know you want to get it out. You're going to feel good about it tonight. You said it. Okay, I'm leaving. Like versus letting it brew and stew and actually make a difference. And it's a shame that it takes so long or that it's a constant loop. But with that change, do you think it's going to come more from the local area or do you think it's going to come more from the higher area first? Because, I mean, states are slowly making big changes over time here. I mean, just even with like the taxation for the marijuana for even Denver, like that was huge for them. The government saw that. California, a bunch of other places, like that was a silly thing. That's just like one little hilarious thing that they're like, all right, it's legal here. And just think about all the other things that are restrictive in countries. In different states around the country. Just fix a little bit of that law right there, and all of a sudden, we just earned revenue. You stop telling them no and start telling them yes. And you see what happens.
I mean, I don't know. You have to start small.
You do.
You have to. This isn't going to be a big, swing of the pendulum kind of thing. No, it's not going to be. It's going to start small, and it's going to slowly grow outward. You're starting to see it already. I mean, you look at the different marches and the movement.
Yeah, the marches and the movements are huge now.
It started small. Someone sowed a seed. People started believing in the seed. That seed started becoming a vision. And people start capturing that vision and starting saying, I could be part of this too. You start to grow. And you keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. And then the influence starts coming into play.
Yeah.
Because once there's a large enough populace,
the voice gets loud, yeah.
Then all of a sudden people say, we better start paying attention to what's going over there. Because who knows what's going to happen next.
Well, you get to see it really firsthand being on campus, because that's where a lot of this happens. Kids are not with their parents anymore. They got freedom and reign, and they realize they have a voice, whether it's right or wrong, and they're going to use it. And you get to be you've seen that whole jump since I graduated from college, where it's one of those like big change, and like I'm so out of the loop with the news that I didn't even really know about like safe spaces and stuff like that until like a year ago. And I was like, and it was already starting to die off. I was like, what the hell's going on here? What is a safe space? Like, and it's one of those, like, people get upset when they talk about rights and be pro-rights here and pro-rights there and this and that. And I'm fiscally conservative and I'm socially liberal. But for a lot of the stuff that goes on, it's either you're one way or the other way. So either you're with us or you're against us. You're pro these rights, but you can't be pro those rights. You can't say pro everyone because we're not worried about everyone. We're worried about this one little niche. So either you say you're pro that little niche or you're not pro that niche. And it's crazy. That mob mentality, that with us or against us, just shines so bright nowadays. And then people's inability to get properly educated about a subject or a topic, and you just show up with your pants down, and then you get really mad that you got shown up. And I can, whoever's watching it, or I can tell from just watching it that you were either spoon-fed something, you heard something as happenstance, or it's just something that you thought up. And it's one of those, from the educational system, know what to say, know what to do.
And I can't tell you how many times you have to do that. You pull back, look at everything first before you react.
Yeah.
Don't just jump and go. You're like, oh, this is happening. We got to do something about it now.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Why is it happening? First of all, is it even something that we should be worried about? Why are we even caring about it? Just slow it down. And that's the kind of mentality I try to get into my student. Slow down, or anyone I talk to. No, don't just be in a race to get to the finish line.
Everybody wants to be the first one to make a difference, but they don't want to know where the difference is coming from.
No one wants to be the tortoise anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be the hare. And it's like, well, what have we done to ourselves to cause us to be this one-sided figure versus actually paying attention to the fact that maybe we should be the other side? I mean, I've seen it too much. People are just like, I want to be first. And I'm like, how about you be last?
Well, it's that same thing. You get cut off. What's your first reaction? Oh, this mother beep, bah, bah, bah. And it's not like, okay, what just happened? okay, there's a ton of things that could have just happened. It's not worth it me getting upset. I'm going to go about my business. But once again, everybody wants to be the reactor. You want to be seen for what it is you're doing or you're saying, not for everything that went on behind the scenes, which is, that millennial mentality. And I say it's a millennial mentality. I don't say it's an actual generation, because I know adults like 40, 50 years old who are millennials. And it's one of those, the millennial mentality is gimme, 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 without knowing what it took to get there. And once I figured that out, I stopped caring. I was like, okay, I get this. I'm going to start doing my journey, start doing my steps, start taking the things that I need to do. When you realize that you're developing something and you're like, oh, it's so simple, it's going to do this and that. And then you think about it, you're like, this is going to take me years. All right, better buckle down and get ready for the years of it versus, oh, I can do this. Who do I go to for money for this thing? And that's so many people who do it. Those small business loans, they'll eat you up 10%.
Yep.
Woo!
Gotta watch out.
You don't have a plan. You don't have a way to get revenue. You just have an idea, and you just took money because of an idea.
Almost like the people you see on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Literally, some of those people, I want to sit there and say, you obviously had a strategy going into this, but did you understand that there was far more to what's going to come out of it if someone agrees, if one of these sharks agrees to give you the money?
Yeah.
I mean...
And now you've got to put up.
Yeah, I mean... Again, it's like being the kid in the candy store, parable. You go in, you look, you say, oh, look, there's all this good sweet stuff here.
Yeah.
Let me grab as much as I can and start eating it. At some point, your teeth are going to fall out of you, and you're going to wonder what happened. Well, you got too greedy, and you went after something you shouldn't have touched. And it's that kind of thing of, okay, can we pull back for a second and just say, is this the right thing for me to be doing right now?
Yeah.
All right. If not, then maybe let's just take maybe a week or two to just really rethink this. Maybe overnight I'm going to have an epiphany and be like, okay, yeah, that was the right thing for me to do. I need to do it now. No, probably not. Let's just hold back.
Do you do a lot of problem solving when you're unaware of it?
Yeah.
So
I
for
do.
me, it's sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, I literally, sometimes I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming, or, if I'm in the shower taking... all of a sudden thing pop in my head, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
I need to remember that. And
then I'm racing to get done, trying to remember it, keep it in my head, and then I'm write it down or type it in my phone and be like, go do this.
What is that? What is that all about? Because I've been doing that over the past year. It annoys me because it'll happen at the most unopportune time, but it definitely happens. It got me to the point where I was like, I need to get like a earpiece. That way when the ideas click, I can just go and then say it and then click it off so it throws it into my notes. Because it's so hard to get it, and then you got to remember exactly what you said, how you said it, what you said,
it's just called being a rare species, I guess. I don't know.
It scares you sometimes because it'll pop out. You're like, who's in my brain doing that stuff? Like I had a problem with one of my board games for the longest time that I couldn't figure out. And I asked 6 people for answers. I did research on it. I was like, maybe I'm looking at this from the wrong angle. So I started looking at it from the scientific angle. I started looking at it from the literal angle. I started to just disassemble the problem all the way. And I was trying to develop a mechanic. And obviously that's tough as hell. But I couldn't figure out why my mechanic didn't work. I was like, on paper, it makes sense. When you do it in real life, it does not work at all because random chance with the dice totally messed it up. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to put that away. I stopped messing with the game. 2-3 months go by or something like that. I woke up first thing in the morning. I run out of the bedroom. I get over to the piece of paper and I start scribing it down exactly how I could possibly remember it. And then I threw it, put it off to the side. A couple of days later, I come back. I was like, who the hell are you? Who just wrote that down? I was like, that was not me. I don't even know where that idea came from. And I was like, that's the answer. It all makes sense.
It's called trusting your instincts.
Well, because you
I don't know.
Really freely do that because you're dealing with, chemicals all the time, and obviously your brain doesn't know 100% of what happens, reaction here, reaction there. So when you're trying to figure out problems, you pretty much have to do a lot more of it manually.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I said, it's about instinct. It's about recognizing that, okay, something was put inside your head for a reason. Don't deny it.
Yeah.
Just, trust it and then say follow through. See what happens, see where it takes you. It may not take you where you want to go, but you know what? it's taking you there for a reason.
Could be that blunder that ends that next thing that could be the mistake that takes you to what actually happened. Like with Einstein.
Right.
How many mess ups were there before the real one worked?
Or it could be the warning that you needed to get before it just be like, oh, if I do this, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me go over here.
That's not a bad way to think about it, too.
So-
And that's something you can't teach either.
No.
Unfortunately, that's one of those, like, it just happens and you can't control it.
Well, again, slowing down, being patient. But there's another one, humility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to maintain our humility sometimes, because sometimes we get so engrossed and we go.
Yeah.
And we think that, oh, I'm doing the best. I'm the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, not really. It's just a stepping stone.
Well, then if you bring people's reality into check, like on yourself, like, you know, when people will compliment me, I'm like, I'm just some guy. And then they get upset that they're like, you're not taking the compliment. It's like, I just took the compliment, but I'm just letting you know I'm just like you. You're just like me. We're both people. Like, there's no humility there. There's just me realizing I'm just some guy.
Right.
And it's one of the things, like when I found you, it's like PhD in chemical engineering. This guy's brain's got to be like this huge. And then you come to find out that you won the Outstanding Teacher Award twice. And then you all of a sudden, like, you're taught, don't read a book by its cover. Don't read a book by its cover. But through societal standings, they still do that, though. They're like, oh, really smart people are really antisocial, or they're super egotistical. It's one of the two. Here you are, winning the Outstanding Teacher Award, which means that your students and peers recognize who you are and what you do and how you do it. And then here we are having a conversation about this. So how did you actually go about winning those awards? Is it like a ballot, like for prom, where people put your name?
No. Yeah, so you get nominated for them, and then behind the scenes things happen. Mm-hmm. Again, like for the one at RIT when I got in 2016, I had people come in the room, observing, mm-hmm. watching me in action and everything else, and then I find out, okay, you won the award. And I was like, whoa,
that's so cool.
And then 2017, a colleague of mine down in DC. Like put my name forward, and had the recommendation letters and things like that. And then lo and behold, one night in September,
yeah,
I'm just sitting there watching NFL football, and I see my email go off, and it says, "Oh, congratulations, you won this one." And it's like, okay.
So what does that mean to you? That's a pretty nifty award. You are being told that out of everybody, you are an outstanding teacher. You're not just someone who's doing it.
It's a marker,
mm-hmm.
right? It's a way of saying, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Keep improving. And that's the thing. I don't view these awards as, okay, I've made it. Mm-hmm. I view it as, all right, I've gotten here, but I'm still not where I need to be.
So it's like a subtle pat on the back.
Yeah, you can call it that.
Pat on the bottom, rather.
Yeah. It's like, look, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Keep instilling hope. Keep instilling, do the things you do. Keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But always continue to improve on where you are. Don't plateau.
Yeah.
Just like you when you work out.
Yeah.
Don't plateau. Mm-hmm. If once you find that plateau, you got to change something. Change it. All right. And then because as you continue to improve, you continue to inspire.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, these awards are kind of a reminder of keep inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And that to stay true to who you are.
Yep.
Remain focused. The awards, they're on my shelf
mm-hmm.
in my office. I don't point to them.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. They're just there. But people know. I mean, you see the news articles like I shared with you and everything else. Those
mm-hmm.
are, those are just two of them. The third one I didn't send to you, but yeah. But again, I just say, okay, markers, stepping stones. The path of life for me has always been, after going through one adversity after another adversity, I just say, you know what, keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't get all like bright eyed and everything else,
mm-hmm.
and get all gleeful about stuff. Like, no, just keep moving. I mean, because I wake up every day going, I'm thankful to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was going to get to, because you're tenured, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so you're about to be tenured. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the big big issues in education with teachers being tenured is a lot of them will take their foot off the gas mm-hmm. once it hits. And seeing someone like you who's extremely passionate and you're getting, acknowledgement from your colleagues and from students like, hey, you're doing it right, you're doing it right, you're doing it right. For me, that instills hope that there's teachers out there, educators who are doing it and they're doing it better. And you're just hoping that tenure doesn't take somebody off the gas. And I'm not going to at all suggest that would happen with you, but I'm saying with a lot of people, that's the goal. Get tenure and then throttle back.
Yeah.
And you just start to sacrifice on education.
Right.
And I mean, you probably see people, and you've probably seen people over the past couple of years with being with RIT, where teachers have noticeably taken a little bit of a pump in the brakes. And I'm wondering if it's just like, are you satisfied, or is it just, I'm safe?
See, and that's the thing. I'm never satisfied because I'm able to get out of the box and say, boy, I shouldn't have done it that way, or I should, maybe I can do it better if I go this way.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to find, where can I improve? Where can I improve? What do I need to do? Using my ears, listening. We seem to not want to listen anymore. I don't understand why. But we always want to say, like, oh, I hear you, but okay, whatever. Instead of really taking a step back and saying, I heard what you said. I thought about it. What do I need to do to change it? How can I change it? What can I do here and there? That's where I've seen the struggle. And those, especially when you get tenure, you've gone through, ups and downs for 6 years trying to get there, and you finally get it. And it's like, okay, I can now pull back because I've done it. And it's like, no. For me, it's more of, no, I've made it the first mountain.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 4 or 5 more mountains ahead of me that I want to conquer. And there's so many ideas I want to try and things I want to bring to life as I go in doing it. And bringing things to life is a challenge because you have to think about, all right, what is the ultimate impact of this? Is it really going to help someone, or is it really just helping me?
Okay.
Because I don't want it just to be helping me. I want it to be, I'm always about helping other people. And it's about, if this doesn't help them, I don't want to do it.
That also comes back to the whole realizing your mortality thing, too. Having to pass down something like a gift, as opposed to selfishly like holding on to it.
Right.
It's an interesting mentality to have, especially in this day and age where so many people are just out for themselves, cutthroat, gimme, take, want. And then you just have somebody who's like, all right, I'm going to enjoy myself, but I'm going to make sure that you get all the tools you need to succeed.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what I do. I mean, it's the mentoring side that comes out now, where you put others before yourself, and you recognize that, look, I'm only going to go so far, and then someone's going to have to come behind me and take the mantle and go. Because, again, reality is I'm not going to be here forever. So, yeah.
It must be super interesting getting to do what you do and seeing students that you're just like, this one's driving, this one's going to go somewhere. Like 100% validation right there. And then you get to help mold the base and then watch them just go, just take off. And you get to see that time and time again. And that's got to be probably like one of the best feelings as being an educator, knowing that you had a hand in kind of adjusting who that person is or helping them or giving them another tool in their wheelhouse or something like that.
Exactly. I wake up every day going, thank you that I'm able to be alive. I wake up every day also going, okay, what next? What's the next milestone I want to go for?
Do you think that something will ever satisfy you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, satisfaction's great because you know you've accomplished. It's a sense of accomplishment. But there's always a hunger. You should always have a hunger inside of you, saying, "Okay, what's next for me?" Right? But you also, at the same time, also want to be recognizing this is where the humility piece comes into play. You should be content at some point with some of the stuff you have.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be greedy saying, oh, well, that person already has this. I want that now.
Yeah.
No.
That's that comparing to other people thing and that animal thing.
Again, it's like I'm not here to be the alpha dog.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If someone runs over me, so be it. End of the day, because I come back around later on and I go, okay, well, what did you learn? Especially when they fall down and they don't know what happened. Or they get hit, blindsided or get slammed by a Mack truck from behind and don't realize what happened. And I say, this is where you want to slow yourself down. Yeah. This is where now you need to realize, do you really need that piece there to make you better? And I've had these conversations with many people over and over. Would I like to have my arm back to where it was before? Sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going, no, I don't.
So did you get permanent rotational damage from that?
Yeah.
Same thing with probably your legs as well.
There's no bone. I don't have a radial ulna.
Oh, you don't have a radial. Oh, so what do you have?
Just one bone. It's a single bone that grew back with plates and screws.
What?
Yeah. So I have the radial ulna over here.
Yeah, which allows for.
But I don't have full 100 rotation. I don't have full pronation and supination.
Yeah, because so from the surgery here, that's as far as it goes here, and that's as far as it goes here. Because I'm working on it, but you have a single bone.
Yeah, plates and screws.
Wow.
Yeah. How feel?
That's crazy. What?
Yeah.
What was the rehab like on that? Because now you're relearning how to use your left hand.
I mean, OT, not fun.
Yeah.
PT, not fun, but more tolerable. PT.
Well, for you, like, what was it like for you? Because now you're going home, you can use this side, you can do these things here, and you've got, rigid here that now you have to learn how to.
No, I mean, I just, when I type, I'm like this, or I type with 6 fingers. I know how to move around the keyboard with only 6 fingers. I mean, remember what I said, adapt.
Yeah.
Again, I teach by doing.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I can tell you, but I teach by doing, so you see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was doing the Orange Theory fitness thing. When I go in the gym or anything, I have to adapt. I have to change everything up. Mm-hmm. I know how it's supposed to be done, but I go tell people, nope. And then I show them what's really going on. They're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I'm like, yeah. But then they get, they go, wow, that's ingenious how you're doing that.
I'm trying to solve a problem.
I go, okay, yeah, I know I can't bench press like everyone else can bench press. Sorry, because I can't rotate the bar. The bar, yeah. So I have to do it differently.
You got to use machines. You got to use dumbbells.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that adaptability doesn't put me at a disadvantage. It just says, okay, well, you can go over there and be gung-ho all you want on the bench press, but I'm going to do it my way over here, and I'll just be just as effective as you and getting what I need. So when for occupational therapy and physical therapy for me, it was more mentally taxing because of what you have to go through. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it was also an opportunity for me to say, okay, this is a teaching moment for me. Yeah. Taking it and say, okay, well, how do you adapt? How do you change? All those lessons I learned are what I've inserted in my classroom one way or another. Where I've taken things away, like in my lab class that I've taught before, and like I've taken things away from the groups. Yeah. And I've made them, okay, you have to adapt. You don't have the sensor. You don't have a flow sensor now. What do you do? Okay. You don't have this pump over here. What do? You still got to get flow through the recirculation bath. What do you got to do? To force them to realize that, yeah, it may seem unfair that I took it away. Yeah. But you know what? Wait till you have to have something in life that gets taken away from you. You have no idea how to fix it.
Oh, geez, that is a brilliant tool to teach kids. That's a brilliant tool to teach anybody. That reminds me of Febreze, when they invented Febreze. My dad likes to tell this story a lot. he's one of those people. And it came back with, they were put in the class and they're giving like detergent. They're like, how do we give somebody something to help enhance their clothes that might not be dirty, but keep them smelling fresh and good? And then you've got everybody who's trying to invent something new as opposed to doing deduction. And it's just pull out all the cleaning stuff and leave the smelly stuff with the fluids. Like, done. There's your product. It doesn't have to clean. It just has to refresh. And he loves that story. He loves that story. But it's just, not everything needs to be changed. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. What if you just added or subtracted something, or you changed it slightly?
Right. Exactly. Again, sometimes the simplest of things is simply turning a switch. Mm-hmm. Or
you just do that real quick. So I had to ask if, so let's say money wasn't an option, like it wasn't something that's holding you back like that. What would you be doing in chemical engineering right now? Like, let's say you got a grant for whatever it is you wanted to do chemical engineering wise. What would you be doing with it?
Well, let's see. For anything I want to do, it would be designing a apparatus of some sort that uses a sodium ion battery with a unique chemistry to it that allows me then to be able to pump water through a system that combines that with my technology that the materials that I developed for water filtration that creates clean water. I want to my goal as a researcher and a scientist is to try it whatever way I can to put a fingerprint on the grand challenge out there of clean water for all.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
It's a shared human dilemma.
Right. How do we create clean water for everyone? And the problem is people say, oh, I'm going to come up with the one thing that's going to solve all our problems. Like, no. Come up with the one thing that's going to help one population.
Yeah.
And then let it grow from there.
Because it might not be useful for every population.
Right.
You got to take into account deserts versus wetlands versus forests versus mountains versus winter areas. They're all different. They all have different obstacles. So it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
So you're trying to tackle a specific niche right now, and that could eventually give you the answer to another question, or another question, or a different question. And then obviously every answer, you have multiple more paths to take. That's the exciting thing with science, though, is it never just ends. It's never just, here's my answer.
Well, that's life in general.
But it's beautiful, though. And like that's completely, perspective to that industry is you notice that. Same thing with the sciences and the engineering. A lot of the other things, it's just, here's my daily life. I'm going about business. I make this choice. Here's my daily life. I go about my business. Here's this choice. Versus here's my daily life. What do I want to do? I have all these options. Like, people don't put that together very often.
Here's a question. How many different pathways can you take to get home from work?
Yeah.
Whenever I come from the airport, I realize I can go a different route. Let me take this route. Maybe I'll take 390 all the way around to Lehigh Station Road. Or maybe I'll get off at Scottsville Road and go down to East River Road. Or maybe I'll just stay on Scottsville all the way down until I get to, you know what I'm saying, get to Scottsville and then go through that way.
Yeah.
That's life.
That's fun.
We've programmed ourselves to say, this is the most efficient, expedient route to get there. Okay, great. But did you forget about all these other routes over here you could take?
Everybody, it's the same. So like with traffic, it's the same thing. It's the time of the day. Depending on the time of the day, you better have a different way to go. It's like if I ever have to go south and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm not taking the 104 to the 90 south.
But remember that everyone gets frustrated when you can't take the normal route. Normal.
Louis C.K. had a bit about that. I'm sorry, this is the way I have to go. And he's just crossing over like 4 lanes of traffic to make a right. You're like, no, I get that. That's some people because they're not comfortable with uncomfortable. And that's something you were talking about is let me make you uncomfortable. Figure that out. That's a new feeling, right? Do you like it? No? Okay. Well, you're not going to be it's not going to be uncomfortable for long.
Right.
Figure out the solution. Most people can't handle that though.
Well, I don't agree with that.
No?
Everyone can handle it.
You just think they don't want to.
It's the psychology behind it though. How do you teach uncomfortableness? How do you get someone to want to be uncomfortable such that they're going to grow from the problem solving that comes from having to be in something they're not used to?
Yeah. Because you can also find the solution to a problem without actually learning it either. And that's another problem.
So if I threw you in a crowd again, let's just go back to one of your aversions.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you in a crowd in a room, lock the door.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for you to finally realize, maybe I should start talking to people to relieve my anxiety? And then such that, at the end of the day, all of a sudden you realize, I've been sitting in a room with 50 people in this claustrophobic closet, whatever.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Instead, you run the other way going, let me out of this room right now. Because, you start getting that anxiety. And it's like, you're taking the comfortable route. You're not taking the uncomfortable route. I'm sitting on airplanes or I'm in the airport. I make a joke out of some things. I mean, I've been in so many delays and cancellations at this point in my travels that, sometimes at the airport, I've been there when the last flight out, you're sitting there, you see the pilots come out and they go, all right, have a good night, folks. And they walk away and you're like, aren't you supposed to be on this flight? And you look up at the desk, you see the gauge and her head's down. And she's just like on the phone shaking her head because she's frustrated because she knows what's about to happen.
Oh, jeez.
Because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
As soon as she makes the announcement.
Everybody's about to be mad at her.
And then everyone's going to launch at her like, what do you mean, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because it's her, because she had the call. It's her say, for sure,
right.
Yeah,
it's like, so, yeah. And I said, you know what I did? I just sat there.
Yeah.
I let everyone going up there. Because you know what happened? All the people who are anxious and wanting to, no, I have to be where I need to be. They got rebooked on flights, right?
Yep.
All of a sudden, I hear her. She goes, "Oh, why did they wait till now to do this?" And I knew what that meant. They had rebooked. They created another flight.
Yeah.
To put us on.
Because someone's not just going to let that problem go awry. They're going to deal with it.
And I said, "Patience."
Yeah.
Why run up there and go through all that? just be patient and see what happens.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's an uncomfortable situation sitting there going, well, I guess am I sleeping in the airport? Am I going to have to get a hotel? What am I? But let the problem unfold for a moment before we just immediately jump and react and be like, oh, I'm coming after you because this is your fault. You got to give me compensation for it.
Yeah, we're the townsfolk, and you're the monster up in the watchtower that we're gonna burn down.
Right.
It's one of those things like my dad said a long time ago, because I used to get frustrated at everything, and he was like, next time you get something that's gonna make you mad, he goes, think about it like this: is it gonna matter in an hour? It's gonna matter in a day, matter in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month, year. Because if it gets further than a couple weeks, he goes, it's something to worry about. He goes, if it doesn't, he goes, let it go. People cut me off. Cool. People slamming their brakes in front of me. Cool. Somebody crosses the street when they're not supposed to. Okay, that's fine. Some idiot in the gym is slamming 200 pounds like it's 600 pounds, and he's making a big scene. It's fine. Do your thing. Like, once my dad explained that to me, I was like, I don't care about a lot of things now. And everybody's like, oh, you take like a passive right, take the outside right. It's like, no, I just don't care. It's not about being passive or anything like that, or being passive aggressive or anything like that. It's just, I don't care. It doesn't affect me anymore. You kind of like step out of that. And I was going to get to this. So from what we've talked about, you seem very spiritual, correct? So how does science kind of merge with spirituality? Because a lot of people will argue that you can't have one with the other, because the one is more faith-based, the other one's more fact-based. And I always ask my dad this too, because my dad he's Roman Catholic, and he's super sciencey, and he's super religious.
Yep.
And as someone who's not, it's one of those like, how does that work?
So I keep the two indistinguishable. Right? They don't merge.
Okay.
Because, like, science is science. And whatever it is, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But don't cross over there and say, like, oh, well, you can't prove anything by feeling or spirituality. I'm like, no. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
There are things that happen for reasons.
Yeah.
I'm like your dad. I'm very, very, very religious. Very, I've always had faith. I always believe in faith. And, I say I trust my instincts. Yeah. I go off of my faith. A lot of decisions I make, I'm like, Lord, you got my back here. So I'm going to put my faith in. This is what it's going to be. All right. Yes, you can say, oh, well, you had to be some science behind how you got to this. I can tell you right now, some of my research, I'm sitting there going, figure it out first, then we'll worry about the science.
Okay. That's an interesting way to do it.
I just take a leap of faith sometimes and say, maybe this will work if we go here.
You got to wonder how much of these answers are based on chance. Yeah.
Right? And then I say, okay, we got it. Now, okay, what's the science behind why the behavior we're seeing is going on? So I take more of an engineering thinking model to it, where it's figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So do the how first. Then ask yourself the why.
That's so cool.
Because I understand, how I was trained is always ask the why. Ask the question. What do you want to investigate? What question, one burning question you want to answer as a scientist? Okay. Ask the question, then go about trying to figure out, okay, what's the fundamental basis behind it? What are first principles you need to do? And then once you get the answer to that, then you say, okay, well, how do you put down? How do you put it in there? I go, well, no, let's go the other way now. How do we create a material that actually can pull out, contaminants out of water?
Yeah.
And once you get that, then you go, okay, well, why is it happening? What are the binding energies? What's going on in these interactions?
Yeah.
Tells you. To me, I have more fun that way because I'm like, again, I'm a puzzle man.
Yeah.
So the more puzzles I have in front of me to challenge me, the more I can sit there and say, And when I can start seeing numbers or pictures and things going into play, then my brain starts going.
I love that.
And then as like I was telling you when I walked in, I'm a visual, people call me a moving map because I'm able to visually space things out. So you were asking, how easy was it to get here? What I did was I just pulled up the map and I integrated it within my process.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I creatively created the map. And so I was able to move along. And then that's why I was like, okay, left, right.
Yeah, so for like me, it's one of those, if I look at the map, I can look at it briefly and then I know where I'm going and I can just shut it off because I can relay on the road whatever's going on. But if I've driven it before without a map and I've gotten there, no matter what time of the day it is, how bright, how dark, whatever it is, how snowy it is, I can find my way there the same way. But I can't do both. So I can't use the map and use the old way to figure it out.
Yeah, no.
It's just...
The map is there for me to say, okay, here's what I need to do. Here's where I need to go. Here's point A, here's point B. And here's the path you got to take. After that point, once I have that in me up here, then I say, okay, can I reconstruct it in a manner that as I'm driving along? And I do. As I'm driving along, it gets reconstructed. It's like coming to your place. It was like, okay, well, here's 104. Oh, there's Bay Road. All right, and so forth.
Get the loop-de-loops, yeah.
And then just kept moving, and everything was click, 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 click.
Yeah.
And that's for me. That's what I like. So as a man of faith, I really rely on that a lot of times, especially as I move along in life and everything. Because look, how would you feel if you woke up and then your parents told you, you were dead?
Mm-hmm.
It'd
freak you out. It'd freak
first, I didn't
anybody
know
out.
At first, I'm like, okay, well, I woke up and going, why do I have my leg in this machine, and why does my left arm have this big giant cast around it, and why does my right arm have this other thing sticking out of it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Did you break the other wrist?
It fractured.
Yeah.
So they had to put a fixator here.
Was that probably from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, sitting there first going, okay. And then I'm like, okay, so now I'm in a new situation here. Mm-hmm. And, the uncomfortable situation of, well, can I walk?
Yeah.
Or will I walk? Because when they said, oh, you're paralyzed, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I'm like, they're like, no, temporarily paralyzed. Right now you can't do much of the things.
Yeah. Why don't you leave with that? That's crazy.
So, and as I said, at that point I said, I got to put my faith in the Lord and try to get me through this, because I was like, I am not going to be in a wheelchair the rest of my life here.
Well, starting to walk after 3 weeks, that's got to be hard. You were putting in work that whole time to make sure you could get to that deadline real quickly.
Well, again, the amount of pessimism that comes around you, that cloud, you just have to push it away and say, I'm going to show you what I can do. Mm-hmm. And then when people start seeing it, when I'm crossing a major road in Atlanta, and my PT person was there, she was running. I was walking. Mm-hmm. She had to start running. She was like, I don't understand. You were like, where'd you find the speed in you to get going like this? I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's like, I had to run across the street. You walked so fast across that street.
Yeah.
I was like, well, the light was changing, so I wanted to get across the street.
Yeah.
But she was like, I don't understand. But she didn't hold on to me either. They have a belt to keep you. She's like, I didn't have to hold the belt. You did all this on your own.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. What's next? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Again, because I was like trying to, instilling hope and getting hope in others, and that, just because you faced an obstacle here doesn't mean it's the end. Mm-hmm. Stop looking at the obstacle as this steel wall that you can't get over.
Yeah.
No, there's a way of getting over it. You just have to understand how to do it.
That's that defeatist mentality. If it's not easy, I don't want it. If going with that, I thought about this a while ago with the conversation that was going. Was one of the reasons I started this is because I feel like the art of the conversation is dying. And for me, on Friday nights, when everybody comes over to play board games or play Magic or something like that, your phone goes on silent and it goes away.
Yep.
Because we're here to be with each other. Same thing with the interviews. When we're on the interviews, phones go away. We're here to be with each other. And the art of the conversation it's dying. Yep. And one of the big reasons is Google, which is like, I'll have a problem. I'll ask the wife, what's that guy in? And she'll be like, oh, and I'm like, no, put your phone away. Let's figure this out. Like, and then you start trying to fire the synapses in your brain. You're trying to work around. You're like, well, he looks like he was from this, but I don't think he was that. And you're trying to you're doing the workaround because the answer's there if you want it.
Right.
When you want it, but it's like work yourself into it. It's the same thing with the conversation. Everything's down to emails and text messages. And I don't like phone calls. They're interpersonal for me. I can't focus on a phone call. I'm just like, whatever, Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Get in front of somebody. Have that exchange with somebody, because then you can read the person. You see their facial expressions. You can see the sweat glistening down their face. You can hear the inflections and tones and stuff like that. With the text message and anything like that, you don't get any of that. And the art of the conversation is going right out the window with people's ability to just quickly go, yeah, okay, I'll be there soon. This isn't that. How's work going? It's going fine. Versus, what's going on? Oh, let me tell you about work. I have a friend who's an engineer. He's like, the architects don't understand. And he'll tell you in detail. And it's like, if you told me this through text messaging, I would just go, something about these guys. Yeah, okay. And it's just dying. And one of the things is the ease of getting a hold of information with Google, because people are becoming so crutched by it where they don't want to solve a problem anymore. You'll play a video game or something like that. Well, I don't play video games anymore, but you'll play a video game and you're just like, oh, how do I beat this? I can't beat it. You look it up real quick. You're like, oh, okay, there's the answer. Versus, why don't you try it? Why don't you figure this out? Yeah. Use those brain things you got going on up there. And that refers to me always back to the art of an argument. Because you can ask anybody, you're like, so what is the best way to win an argument?
To argue back.
About what? How? Why? Where?
Or argue your point. You position it.
That's it. Everybody likes to argue against the other person. Right. Yeah, the sky is blue. No, the sky is gray. Well, I'm the sky is blue. You're the sky is gray. I'm going to take the offense. It's not, blah, 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 and you're wrong because of this and that and yada, yada. And then you're standing over there and you're like, well, on my side of things, it is this way because of this and it is because of that. Because people are sensitive. And I noticed this a long time ago, and it was one of those, you don't argue against them, you argue for yourself. Because the moment you start to attack something someone believes in, or something someone, has faith in or something like that, they go on the defense. Because now it's, I have to protect my arms, I have to protect my castle, versus leave the gate down, let them come in, have a cup of tea, look yourself around or something like that. So it's, what do I know about my topic versus what do I not know about your topic? And you throw it in, it's not going to change overnight, but it's one of those, I give you enough information about things that I know, you give me enough information about the things you know, and then you let it work itself out versus a lot of hate, and then I'm just sitting over here not playing defense. And that's the easiest way to lose an argument. The moment you attack somebody else's opinion or something like that. Yep. Oh, your opinion's stupid. Wow. Did we just go there? I'm sorry, my opinion has an intelligence quotient. Like, let's pursue this even further. Why don't you tell me about your side? And you find out a lot of people don't know anything about their side, and that's the more frustrating part, which is why they get so defensive. It's because they know the defensive part, they don't know the offensive part, they don't know the intelligent part. And I'm assuming in an educational environment, you see that a lot. Mm-hmm. And is there a good way to teach people about knowing your side of things versus knowing the other person's side of things?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm. That's always going to be a double-edged sword.
It's you want to, especially in a scientific community, if you're in the same field with people, you may see something that they've published or whatever, and you say, I see what you wrote, but I don't necessarily agree with it, and here's why.
Yeah.
And but you have to be able to approach it in a gentle manner, just that they don't get riled up and how can you disprove my work? My work is great, it's brilliant, blah 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 blah. And it's like, I look at it and I'm like, I'm not here to compete with you.
Yeah.
I'm here to collaborate with you, and I make it clear to people, I'm not here to compete. I'm not going to compete. Mm-hmm. I'm here to work with you. All right, we're in the same area here. I'm seeing this trend here. You're saying this is the trend, but it's opposite of what is counter to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why. So.
Where'd you get your data from? How did you approach your
approach? Here's how I approached it. How did you approach it? Let's come to the table here and let's talk. And let's, like you said, have a healthy debate. And at the end of the day, walk away going, okay, we both learned something here. Maybe we need to go back and look at data from the different perspective.
That's also the ego thing, checking your ego, knowing that you don't know everything. Right. And that's one of the things I find as I get older is I learn more. I learn a lot more. Mm-hmm. Like, my phone has 70 tabs open with articles and stuff that I'm reading all the time. And as you learn more, like in my opinion, I'm realizing that I know way less. I might have just finished, 3 papers, and I'm just like, I just don't know anything about anything. Because it puts it into perspective how much information is out there about anything. And you're just like, how do people do it? And then that's why you find out about people's specialties and why they do this and that. So, I have 3 friends who are engineers. They all do totally different stuff, and they don't know anything about the other guy's stuff and what they're doing. Electrical engineer, a building engineer, and then a basic construction engineer. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you guys are all part of the same field. But then that's ignorant of me, because that's the same thing with saying all chemical engineers should know the same stuff. All, people in particle physics should know the same stuff. But it's just...
that's not the case.
You don't. And it's that absorption thing, which is stupid. So I have a friend of mine who we always go back and forth about the questions with superheroes, the what ifs. We just did one today. It was Mr. Incredible versus Captain America. And he insists Mr. Incredible will crumple up Captain America like a tin can and just whip him away. To which I replied with, there's nothing that insinuates that Mr. Incredible has enhanced speed, hearing, sight, or reflexes. He has tons of strength and durability. Whereas Steve Rogers has been noted to have had bullet time, sight, and he has superhuman speed, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, and he's one of the best military minds in the entire Marvel Universe. So it's like you're going to throw Captain America up against a guy who's very, very brute force and very strong. If he gets a hold of Cap, he's going to kill him. But he's got to get a hold of Cap. The vibranium shield, I don't care how indestructible or invulnerable you are, you get smacked by a vibranium shield, you punch it, it's going to hurt you a lot. And it's like he just needs to get in there real quick, crack him in the throat, boom, done. He's like, he's not going to get close. It's like his reflexes are faster. He's faster. He's a different species than Mr. Incredible. Like, and everybody in the forums insists that Mr. Incredible would take him out. And that's like, nah. As a diehard Cap fan, there's no way Cap America's losing to Mr. Incredible in a fist fight in the street. It's not going to happen.
I don't know. Sometimes I just sit there and I'm just like looking at it like, do people really take a step back to look at, what was the purpose of Mr. Incredible when he was formed? Mm-hmm. Steve Rogers, what was his purpose?
Yeah.
And again, Steve Rogers comes from a different time period. He was frozen in time, cryogenically. All of a sudden, he got pulled into the. Lo and behold, he's pulled into today's time.
Yeah, so you bring a completely different set of skills and knowledge and everything to the table, but it's the same thing. It's like I love the hero conversation. I love the fantasy conversations because there's no right answer. Like we did one on a podcast where we developed our ultimate active athletes football team, offense and defense. So athletes from any sport, and we built our ultimate team. And we collaborated on it, and we went through and we dissertated and stuff like that. And we looked at the team, and I was like, I would not want to play against this team ever. I wouldn't want to see anybody play against this team. Because when you're looking at it, and your offensive line is essentially all strong men, and the only one who's not a strong man is your center because you need a good guy who's a snapper. So he's the only one who's actually in the NFL. You're just like, nobody's getting through 400 pounds of man here, 400 pounds of man here, and you're just
Who did you pick?
We picked Eddie Hall, we picked Top Floor Bjornsson, we picked Brian Shaw, we picked Zydrunas Savickas.
Oh my goodness.
Those were our guards and our tackles. Our center, I think, was the snapper for, I want to say, the Seahawks. But we built the whole team, and only a couple players were in the NFL. Everybody else was from other sports. I was like, you give me one off season, I was like, I guarantee you I can take a lot of these athletes and I can teach them how to catch a ball. Catch a football. And you'd be surprised how many players we picked that were basketball players because they're just some of the best athletes out there. Just super transfer. But that's, once again, it's a fantasy conversation. That's never going to happen.
All right.
And it was just the fun of being able to work that through and have them. That's why I'm so big into like the fantasy world and the superheroes and the board games. It's because as I'm doing it, there's no right answer until I find the answer. And having the opinion on it allows you to take a step back. And you showed me something that I didn't know, and now I'm looking into it because that's fascinating to me as well. And it's the same thing with the science and the physics and everything like that. And that all comes back to it as well, but it's all fantasy.
Right.
So I'm not the direct, here's my science, I'm going to put stuff together on the table. It's what could, what should, what might.
Right.
And that's,
Again, it's just my personality.
Yeah.
All right. It's more of, I'm not here to go point blank into something. I want to look at what's going on first. And then I want to ask, what if we did it this way? What if we did it that way?
Yeah.
And I'm asking all this internally to myself, saying, what are my options? And then, has anyone gone the road less traveled for once? Maybe, maybe not. If they're not, okay, whatever, move on.
I love that. That's like such a hard thing to teach someone, is how to not react. Because that's what you have to do to yourself.
Yes,
you're sitting there and you're like, don't react, wait. Oh, here's more facts. Oh, I get it now. Like you're literally telling yourself to throttle back.
Right.
And that's got to be like an intense thing to have learned when you were younger.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, young, anyone growing up, if they say like, oh, I had that ability, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
If you're telling me you were 10 years old and you had the ability to pull back and wait, no.
Oh yeah, no.
No, you're not going to learn that until after you leave college. When you're on your own, you realize, oh, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
And I got to figure this out. When you have that time and that ability to be able to grow, when you don't have the lifelines that you used to have, yeah, you're going to start realizing that maybe I should take a step back to say, let me not do this now.
Yeah.
Let me do it over here. Maybe I should go over here and do it. Maybe not. You start you start realizing that, hey, I've been walking this one path, but, oh, wait, no more. There's like infinitely many pathways I can take. So which one do I take?
Yeah. Can I come back if I need to? Is there a way to loop back? That's why what I was asking when you said you went to MIT, is it's like, for me, I realized after a couple years out of college that I should have waited to go to college because I was not mentally ready for it. I made a lot of financial mistakes and I made a lot of educational choice mistakes. And I still would have gone for sciences had I waited a few years, because I would have gone for physician's assistant or something along those lines, be part of the medical field. I know that I don't do well with collegiate sort of style education. I do better with let me have a choice and figure my stuff out, which is why I wouldn't want to do something that's going to take me as long as it took you to get like your PhD or something like that. For me, it's one of those like I need what I need for that time so I can go and just grow that being. But as a 17-year-old kid being told, hey, you're going to make a really important decision that's going to take you for the rest of your life and you're going to go here. And do you want to spend a lot of money or little money? Do you want to have the ability? And it's one of those, I didn't know anything. I didn't understand finance. And it's go to a $40,000+ a year school for 4 years, walk out with a degree that's essentially a business degree. And what are my options?
Right.
Versus let me go into the workforce, let me figure something out, let me see what I'm actually interested in because I'm still a child at this point. Do you see any of that in your students? Do you, like, if you see it, is there a way that you can address it and be like, just, take some time, think about it, slow down? Once again, there's that slow down mentality.
That's the mentoring me that comes out. That's where I just bring them in. We sit down and chat.
Yeah.
Have a cup of coffee, maybe go sit down, we gotta go down and have lunch or something and just sit there and say, okay, what's going on? And you get to hear their story. You get to hear what's really happening in them. Sometimes I have to pull people back. Some I've had to literally say, maybe you need to take a break.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, I say, this is your choice and your choice alone.
Yeah.
All right? You have to live with the choice you make. And you can't come back and say, well, this person told me this. And like, no. They gave you a pathway to consider. But ultimately, you made the choice. So in other words, I'm trying to teach them responsibility.
Do you see a lot of teachers who do it like you? Where they take all the time. They'll go and they'll do a sit-in. They'll clear the schedule to make sure. Or are you part of that very, very small? Because from my perception, you're part of an extremely small niche of educators who are willing to put themselves out there, take all the extra time that they need to in order to help someone.
Yeah. The latter is true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're on it. I mean, I've seen it. I have colleagues at other universities that I taught to. They're like, I don't have time for this. I just gotta do this. And it's like, you have to make the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you keep telling me that this is what you're seeing. But at the same time, you're not doing something about it. Yeah. Like, do something. Don't sit there and say, well, this is what we're seeing. Okay, well, what are we going to do to fix it? All right, let's not go out and fix it by doing something negative.
Yeah.
Well, let's find a way to do this positive. Let's bring them in. Let's sit them down. Let's just be you. The one thing I do is, my students would tell you, I say, I'm me. Like you and I sitting here right now talking. This is exactly how I talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't hold back. I let them know this is what mistakes I made. This is what I've done wrong. All right. Don't go down this path because I can tell you right now it's not going to be fun. I'm not afraid of opening the book.
Yeah.
And letting them see. In front of the classroom, you see me up there writing on the board and everything else. That's not me. That's not everything about me. There's far more to that. But you have to be willing to open that book. And that gets to the heart of how, as an educator, you have to be willing to draw them in.
Yeah.
It's just that they're willing to sit there and say, what's really going on? And then they see the curiosity. And when they start to see you being open with them, they themselves open themselves up.
That's the point that I'm getting to. And that's being relatable. You see all of these entities floating around, these superstar musicians and actors and athletes and educators and doctors and lawyers and everything like that. And the book by its cover, you see you're a lawyer. That means this, this, and that. You're an educator. That means this, this, and that. And everybody has these different height pedestals. And that's one of the goals with the show here is to reveal that everybody is a person. Everybody has intricacies that make them different. They have quirks. They have, the owner of a business isn't rah, 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 the owner of a business. They have hobbies. They have habits. They have a future. They have a family. They have a past. And it's what's that story? And let's learn that story together. One of my favorite teachers in high school, I interviewed him on the show here. And for me going into it, I had been friends with him after high school. But before then, it was always the same level of respect. I still refer to him as his last name. I've never called him his first name, and I never will, because I see to him there's a sort of pillar there. But going into that pillar, you see it and you're like, oh, they're above everyone else. There's a different level right there. Same thing you get with educators. You like, a lot of people will hold back and they won't be fully involved in the conversation because, they have a lot going on. They don't need to relate to me. They don't want to relate to me. They are better than I am. And then you start talking to them and you start revealing and you're like, oh, I didn't know that he was into this or that. And that's what he did. And when he was younger, he was this and he was in that fraternity, or he was, this girl was here and he was with her and he did all these things. Like, I can relate to that 100%. But most people are too afraid to know that. Or it's one of those, you don't want to see the man behind the mirror, or the drape for Wizard of Oz. So this right here it's to humanize. It's to bring the attention. Like, on paper, you're intimidating. On paper, it's one of those. I sent you the email and I was like, this guy is never going to reach back out to me. This guy is just phenomenal. And with that, you feel like comes this natural ego, once again, the teacher's thing. I don't have time. It's going to waste my time.
So you send the email and then you see my response.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like going, whoa.
Yeah.
I know you were shocked.
For sure. Yeah, right away. Instantly. I had to read it a bunch of times. I was like, there's no way. But once again, I'm learning this with doing this, is that everyone is a person and everybody has things and everybody has a story. Right. And the goal is to get that story out.
Because here's the truth. My students don't call me by my last name.
No.
I make it a habit. I tell them, we're all on the same level here.
Mm-hmm.
We're all here. I'm here to get you from point A to point B. I'm here to instill confidence in each of you.
Yeah.
I create my learning environment such that they understand that they can be them. All right? Yeah, I may have to course correct some of them a little bit because they want to try to, pull the attitude out. But I'm like, no. I mean, you can't do that. But I don't go out and be like, you're wrong for doing that.
Yeah, it's Dr. blah, blah, blah to you at all times, registered. And, that's the correlation versus,
No, just... I literally, they want to go, no, just call me Reg.
Yeah.
And then, that they look around like, did he really just say that? I'm like, yeah, this is who I am.
Yeah, I'm not from the South, but I call everybody sir and I call everybody ma'am. I don't care how old you are. And it's just one of those, like, there's people who get mad at it. And I'm like, why did you get mad at that? Would you rather me come and be like, yo, what's up, bub? Like, sir, let's go with sir for now, and then you tell me if you need a different vernacular associated with your name. Yeah, so it's like when someone as prestigious as yourself comes in, and it's one of those like, this is it. Call me this. I don't need the other stuff. There's a time and a place. This is not the time or the place. And that was the instant vibe I got. I was like, wow, that's super humbling to know that somebody such as yourself has achieved such greatness so far and has so much more that they're just going to achieve. And I'm here with you. We're on this journey together. You want to talk? Let's talk. Like, you realize that there's people like that are out there, and it's fascinating that is it's happening. And I see that it's happening more and more versus the older generations demand respect. The younger generations don't really care if it is or isn't, as long as you're not being violent about it.
Right.
So call me what you want, but just don't be a jerk. Don't be a racist. Don't be a bigot. Don't be an ass.
Exactly. And that's the thing. When I create the environment, it's for them. It's for them to understand that, I know you're going to go through struggles because I've been through them myself. Mm-hmm. They don't know my story. They don't know everything. But they see it come about. Remember how I said second chances?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get that. In one way or another, they go through and then they say, okay, yeah, you fell down. You may have screwed up this exam here and there, but here's your second chance.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating.
And they get shocked by it because they're like, wait, you mean, I'm like, yeah, a true second chance. Prove to me you've learned from your past mistakes. Because you're going to need to be able to do that in life. You're going to have to learn from mistakes. And you say, okay, I did this way this time. Maybe I should do it this way this time.
Because a lot of times you're taught there is no second chance.
Right.
And that's where it hurts, is when somebody offers you it. You're like, oh, there's a string attached here. There's some sort of quid pro quo going on.
And it's one of those. There's no string attached. It is what it is.
As long as you didn't die or do something illegal, you keep trying. You will figure it out. You'll get it done. But when you're taught and you're enladen with that whole one-stop shop sort of thing, get it done, get it done, get it done. Oh, you didn't get it done. Sorry. Goodbye.
Well, again, it comes back to what I said earlier, Kyle. When you wake up and find out you've been given a second chance,
yeah,
you understand how precious it is.
Yeah.
And you don't want to waste it. You don't want to be spendthrift and doing things and everything else and being like, yeah, I made financial mistakes like you. I've done that before. Yeah, I've made sacrifices to help my family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I did it for the right reasons.
What were the thoughts that went through your head when you realized that you had a second chance?
First one was, did I deserve it?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I looked around. I saw people. When I was at the rehab center, I knew I was going to walk out the rehab center.
Yeah. There was no doubt in your mind at all.
And there was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
The rehab center had 5 levels. First level is when we walk into. Second level is administration. The 4th level is where I was.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, that's the well floor. The 5th level is the gym for PT and OT. You notice I skipped the 3rd level.
I did, yeah.
I had to literally push and push to go down to the 3rd level. They wouldn't let me go down there.
What is the 3rd level?
So I got on the elevator and they told me, you're going to come to understand why you're going to be able to leave here.
Mm-hmm.
The door opened to the 3rd level and I could smell why.
Burn unit?
Mm-mm.
No?
Those are the people who will never walk out because they have brain and spinal cord injuries.
Mm.
But I could smell it. As soon as the door opened, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew that floor was more for comforting.
Yeah.
That floor wasn't to help them get out of there. It broke my heart. Because I said, why me? Why do I get a chance to leave but these people don't? That's not fair.
Did you have any guilt?
No, I didn't have any guilt. It was just more of me asking the Lord why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for me to do? That you didn't allow me to have brain or spinal cord injury. Because remember, no left half of my body.
Yeah.
Right arm. All my organs were out of place. I mean, I got the scars and everything else.
Oh, Jesus.
But no brain or spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
The angels were protecting me that day.
You're just like could have been an inch left or an inch right or an inch forward or an inch backwards, and it just makes the difference.
Angels were protecting me that day.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why now. To have the conversation like I'm having right now with you.
Yeah.
Just like I have it with other people. Second chances are rare. And when you're 1 in 10 million,
Yeah.
as statistics go, yeah.
That's a mind blower right there. 1 in 10 million. 1 in 10 million.
Yeah. Doctors will say, there's no way. You can't survive that.
That was the same like with my accident. Everybody, if you see pictures of the car, like I can only imagine what your car looked like.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a car. I'll just tell you that.
It was a box at that. It was just a cocoon.
Yeah.
But there's always everybody's like, yeah, you shouldn't have survived. You should have had more damage. There should have been this. There should have been that. And it's like, there wasn't. We're not going to talk about that anymore. We're going to talk about what is and what's going to be. Mm-hmm. And it's all how you react with these situations, with these things. That's why I asked, like, what was going through your mind? And it's the instant thing that came up was, is it, am I worth it? Why? And it's like, a lot of people aren't going to be perspective like that. They're going to be like, oh, well, this effing guy and blah, 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 and how effing dare you? And they're going to blame somebody else as opposed to relating to themselves what just happened and why it happened. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to get angry and out and blasting away and stuff like that. It's the same thing with getting cut off, like we said earlier. Oh, you like versus, whoa, okay, I'm in this lane. I'm going a little bit too slow. I wasn't close enough to the guy in front of me like I should have been. That gave that guy the opportunity to cut in front of me and slam on his brakes. If I did this a little different, it would have been like that. And that's a really very crappy analogy, but
you get the same perspective.
We need to.
I've been sitting here this entire time just listening to you. And all I hear is passion. I hear drive, I hear passion, I hear someone who wants to make a difference.
What's the point if you don't? And whether it be that's like when I told you, if you help one person, that's the difference. Think of all the people on this planet, all the people who have existed on this planet who haven't influenced a person, who haven't had a positive impact on someone. It's so much easier to have a negative impact on someone, to bring someone down, to berate them, to degrade them, to feel better about yourself versus bringing someone up, bringing someone together, helping them figure their problems out, helping them go through their troubles or anything like that. Just one person. Right. It's all about one person.
That's all it is. That's all I do. When I get up every day I get up. It's not about the group, massive group.
Yeah.
It's the one. Because every day it's going to be a different person. I know that.
I hope you keep those emails, those phone calls, those
I do.
voicemails from students,
I
and
got all of
archive them. Because when you publish your book, I know one day you're going to publish your book, that's going to go in there. And I hope every single one of them knows the impact they had on you, that you had on them.
No, I do. And they're archived. Don't worry.
It's a big deal, especially when a lot of people don't have the chutzpah to kind of like bring it up to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I see that with my dad a lot too. I have a friend of mine who always refers to my dad. He's like, "You got a really good dad." I was like, "Tell me something I don't know." And he's like, "No, you really got a good dad." I'm like, "I know." Dad calls me every Sunday. We talk for a while, and you know, he's helped so many other kids do the same thing. And I see a lot of you and a lot of him between the spiritual and the science and the way you relate. And I can tell that you're an extremely, extremely, extremely smart person. And I can tell that he's an extremely, extremely smart person. But there's that place where it's, here's my ego with my intelligence, and this is what I need for everyday use, so that way you and I can have a conversation, and I can explain it to you in a way. It's like there was points where you were rattling stuff off, and I was like, if I just had 1 second, I'd be chiming in and be like, what's that? Because there's that eagerness to learn, because you're like, somebody knows something I don't. That's another thing, too, is most people aren't willing to recognize that they don't know. They get frustrated, they get upset, they get angry. Mm-hmm. You don't know. What's wrong with not knowing?
Just say it.
What's wrong with not knowing?
There's nothing wrong.
Your ego gets hurt. Done. Oh, I'm so sorry. My ego, fragile ego of mine.
I don't know. What I don't know is what I don't know. And I tell people, like, you know, it's amazing. Like, sometimes my students are like, they'll come like, "What? You never seen this movie? Why didn't you?" It's like, I go, I chose not to watch the movie. What's wrong with that? And they're like, no, you gotta watch this movie. It's like, you know, and in a way of like, you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe I know more than you about this. It's like, is there a bad thing about that? And then I turn the tables on. I'm like, okay, well, what about? I give them an example, and they're like, what is that? I've never heard that before in my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, I rest my case. Class dismissed.
Can't believe you don't know that. Like, I hated Avatar. And I get so much garbage for it. I hated it. I thought it was. I didn't. I admired it from from what it was, the view, what they did to put it together, the CGI. I wasn't into it. I didn't like it.
The principle behind it was flawed.
It's very flawed.
I know what they were trying to do, but I was like, you know, after I watched it, I was like, okay, it was a good movie, but then I thought of it more, and I was like, no, there was something wrong.
So many holes. This guy now is fornicating with a freaky blue alien. Like, but did you see Inception?
No, I didn't see Inception.
I did not see Inception. I would love to see Inception, but I've sat down 3 times to start watching it, and all 3 times, even with how focused I am and how much I really want to watch it, I just can't do it. I'm just like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna have an Inception right now.
Have you watched Bright?
Bright was so good.
But did you see the message in Bright and the underlying message behind it?
Are you talking the racial?
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Oh, I got pissed off.
I got mad at Will Smith. I never get mad at Will Smith.
No, I was pissed off with that movie. And halfway through,
why is that?
I felt it was sending us backwards.
It was. It was so backwards.
And I said, you know, I understand overall how it was put together was great. I understand what was, but I just think the message that was sent was kind of like, okay, we already lived this enough.
This is it's literally every day. Like, we all notice it's the same thing every day.
You know, I don't need to see it in a movie. I see it all over the place. Come on. I mean, come on. You know, back when Ferguson happened, and then everything just blew up at that point. You know, I was in Maryland. I had to go to Maryland for a conference. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, oh, great. I hope this doesn't spill out into Baltimore or in Silver Spring or wherever. You know, that kind of stuff where it's like, okay, we don't need this. And here we are. And sure enough, someone's going to probably pull it up. And you know how the critics go. They're like, you know, well, this just amplifies what we already know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that wasn't what the directors were trying to get at. The directors were trying to get at, we can be harmonious and be able to accomplish a task.
Do you ever wonder, though, how many people don't see it like that, though?
I know a lot of people don't see it like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and again, it was supposed to be futuristic. It was trying to say, you know, trying to send the message of, look, even in the future, this is what it's going to be like. Mm-hmm. You can't escape it.
There's always going to be hate somewhere.
All right, let's work together, though, to accomplish a common goal.
I got mad at Will Smith being a jerk. I got really mad at it because he's such a nice guy, and it's like, don't be mean to that ogre.
But he had to portray the fact that, you know, okay, this guy should have had my back. He didn't have my back, so I'm still gonna I'm going to hold it against him kind of thing.
Well, it was interesting that they chose a black actor as the lead role in a movie that basically reflected race. That's the nutshell. It was a race movie, and you chose a black person.
Well, what would happen if it was the other way around? What if it was a Caucasian person?
That's what I'm saying. It was interesting. So, because what they essentially said is that orcs are less than black people.
Right.
And that's to say that there's a difference between people, black and white,
right.
Latino, whatever it is. There's not. But for that movie, they chose to go that route and use a black actor to go with a subspecies.
Right.
Versus a white actor to go with a subspecies. So they kind of went the route where it goes another step below. But once again, you perpetuate a chain that there is people below people below people, and there's not.
Right. And that's what made me mad. I was just like, I mean, I love Will Smith. I love him as an actor, and I understood. But I think it was just the way that was, as it started unfolding more, and then you saw like the other policemen yelling at Will Smith to betray the guy, and I'm thinking, okay, now you're starting to show this thing, and I was really starting to get angry at that point.
There wasn't even a veil either. They were just out loud about it the whole time.
And I'm just like, oh, good grief. Okay.
It's like they're essentially showing that 1% of protesters who have a voice, but apparently everybody in that movie was part of that 1%. It's like, no, you're going to get an entire group of law enforcement, and maybe one or two people will say that. Everybody else is just going to say it under their breath.
Right.
But now what you did is you brought together a group of 100 people that all have a voice, and that's not how this works in society.
No.
Because you wouldn't be able to have those people together. They would not get together.
Right, exactly. So the movie had good intentions of what it was trying to portray.
Yeah.
All right. But again, like you were saying, perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you come from a demographic that's already been through all this, you're going to take a different perspective than a group that hasn't been through all that.
Mm-hmm.
So you see what I'm saying? So like how it's interesting how many buttons this movie was pushing.
Yeah, they pushed a lot, and they even tried to go with that fantasy core too to get the nerdisms in there.
Right, and see how many buttons can we push to see how people get riled up about it.
They super saturated.
But there's a Bright 2 coming, right?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was clear the way it was
funny.
The movie ended. You were like, oh yeah, there's going to be another.
Will Smith's going to be with his boy.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting idea though, because the only problem that I had is at no point in time did they discuss where orcs came from.
Right. Yeah.
I knew that they were like ground dwellers or something like that, but where did they come from? Same sort of thing. So. That was the biggest loophole. And I have a problem with a lot of movies too, and you probably have the same thing where you see it and you have to like suspend your disbelief. Whereas a lot of people go and they'll enjoy it and they're like, "Yeah, movie." Me, I'm like, "That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem."
Well, again, I know what they're trying to do. I know they're trying to make money, and they want to. Sometimes you have to over dramatize it to make money. But I'm like, if you don't have the facts though, like there should be in there. It goes from being like an actual movie to just being just fantasy.
Yeah. That's why I'm a big fan of comedies. Make the joke. Do the joke for me. That's like, have you seen, oh, God, the movie John Cena's in it, and he's dating one of the girls, and he's got...
Oh, you mean with Will Ferrell or different?
Oh, I can't remember, but he's like in the movie theater with this girl, with Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer's in it.
God, I haven't seen that movie.
It's so funny, but like John Cena, he says like these lines to people, and the way they come off firstly is they come off gay, and then he like rephrases it and it comes off like normal, and you're like, it's amazing how close the two phrases are. But he's just like, he's yelling at people, and you're like, oh my God, these are two, just give me stupid humor, give me smart humor, give me stupid humor, mix it all together. And the wife I'm like, why don't you laugh as much as I do? And she'll go, well, you find things that are funny that I don't find funny. I was like, I find a lot of things funny, and you find almost nothing funny. And like, I'll see this stupid little video, like a 5-second clip of something, doesn't matter what it is,
right.
And I'll show her, and she'll be like, oh, that's funny. And then as soon as she walks away, I'm a burst of laughter. Like, I've been waiting so that way you can enjoy it with me, and you obviously don't enjoy this as well. Why are we on two completely different wavelengths? She's like, it's not that funny. I'm like, it is. Think about it. And then you replay it in your head, and it just gets funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier. And you're just like, God, I can't believe that's a thing. And now with the powers of technology, you catch all of this stuff. Like, one of my favorite things are like the messed up text messages or the texting the wrong person. So like the traveling nurse that I was telling you about, I gave him my number. He typed it in wrong, and he messaged somebody. And he goes, "Hey, big boy." He's talking to this person.
Oh, no.
And he's going through the whole conversation, and he ends up telling me what happened. And I snapshot the whole thing. I put it all on the internet. I go, when you give your friend your number, and he puts it in wrong, and he's talking to this person. He's pretending the guy's pretending like he knows that he's trying to talk to me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, blah blah." And they're going on. He's like, "All right, big boy, blah blah." And he's just going deeper and deeper. And the guy's like, "Yeah, I don't know who you are, bro."
Yeah, no.
But that, to me, that's one of those real situations. You're just like, God, I enjoyed that so much. And then next year, when it surfaces on my Facebook, I'm gonna giggle about it. I'm gonna share him, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, remember when you did this? Remember, stupid?"
And then you just go, "Yeah, shut up."
Yeah. It's just so fun. But I think this world there's not enough laughs going around, and if there is, there's a lot of laughs at other people's expenses.
Right.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if it becomes dangerous or violent, that's the line for me. And it's I liked the Jackass movies, but part of me didn't, just because there was so much potential for lethality. And I did not like fearing for someone else's life. I fear about my own enough as it is.
Right.
And obviously, as an educator for you, the top of your list isn't going to be, "I'm going to watch Jackass 3. What do you watch?
Me?
Yeah. TV, movies, what do you watch?
I'm more into sports more than anything else. I mean, I do watch a lot of, I do watch Food Network because I like to see the cooking.
Of course we do.
Chopped.
Chopped is where it's at, yes.
Although the problem is watching Chopped, it's I think the problem with Food Network is that they put all those Chopped on the same days, like Tuesday, Thursdays. It's Chopped night or something.
And they just run them all out.
And I'm just it gets to a point of, okay, after watching 1 or 2 episodes, I'm like, I'm done. Next, what's next?
Yeah. I partly wonder for that show if they don't, so here's you ahead of time. For Jeopardy, what they do is they give you a whole book of stuff, and you're supposed to memorize it all. And there's 40 or 50 different categories with a bunch of different possible questions for it, and they're really only going to choose 10.
Right.
So I'm wondering if for Chopped, it's the same thing. It's here's the possibilities for your first meal. And then it's a list of 10 ingredients. You're like, okay, well, what could I do here? What could I do here? There's your problem solving. And then what's your possible second
What they
box?
do is they tell them ahead of time what the main things could be, main items could be. They don't tell them everything because they throw surprises in there or some things that, okay, I have no idea what this is, agave nectar or whatever, or some of these candy. I never heard of some of these candies.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, what is this?
Because I sit there and I'm like, well, I could possibly do this. And I'm like, I don't know what those 3 things are. It's just how did you do that?
Yeah, it's what was the one I saw recently? That was weird. It was like a lollipop or something, but it was made out of fish.
Ooh.
And I was like, is that what I think it is?
Yeah.
And I was like, and they said, yeah, it tastes just but just worse. And I'm like, and you got to put this in your dish.
Oh, no. It's you use it like a fish sauce. You just make a soup or something. You put just a little bit in.
Something, and then,
no. Filthy.
Yeah, but he's those kind of things like that. But, I transport that into the classroom, though. Mm-hmm. I've done things where I've had, short of taking my students to, the CAST college and, the hospitality department over there and being like, can I borrow your kitchen for a moment?
Yeah.
Having a baskets in front of them. And then, I was telling that to my students last year. I was like, what would you do if I walked you into a kitchen, there was a bunch of baskets there. It's like, okay, this is your test.
Yeah.
They were like, I'd probably cry because I knew I was going to fail.
That's awesome. I would hope they wouldn't fail. I hope they'd have faith in themselves that their teacher brought them with enough equipment to get there.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I was like, just like in Chopped, you're the mystery things are in the basket, and then around you are all the things you can use trying to get there.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do to change what's in the basket. You just have to evolve.
You have to adapt to what's in the basket. So, but that's what I do. I bring that creativity, especially when it comes to my exams or anything like that, just to try to push them out of their comfort zone even further to say, okay, you know how to do this. Mm-hmm. Let's just change the scenario to see if you understand how to adapt to the new scenario that's presented to you.
It's such a better way too, because now you're not just pigeonholing them into what is the class about. It's about I just learned a skill that I can use for anything. That's that skill teaching, and that's awesome. I'm so happy that that's the kind of teacher you are, and that's what you're doing, and that's kind of how you're influencing students.
Passion.
The passion again.
Love and passion. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love it every day you get up.
Once again, not everybody's got that teacher gene.
You gotta be, but you also have to understand. You get up knowing that, all right, this is what I hope for today. I know it's not going to be perfect and ideal, but I hope this way. And there are days you go in, you have a bad lecture. All right, whatever, move on. Course correct when you need to course correct. But not sit there and be like, oh, that was a horrible lecture today. I'm not cut out for this. And then it's like, why are you beating yourself up over something that lasted for 50 minutes? And I've had to do this where I've had to go and say, okay, let me send an email out saying this. Look, I didn't like it. Sorry about that. Here's what you need. No, and they'll come in and say, well, we didn't think it was that bad, but okay, if you thought.
How hard do you find it to get out of your own head? Because that's a lot of times when something will have been said or done to you, you keep relishing in it and lamenting on it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
You just get over it. You got to get over it. Go to bed. If you can't fall asleep when you go to bed, it's still in your head.
Yeah.
Just go to bed and be done with it.
That's a gift right there, being able to do that. Because I'm the type of person, when something happens or is said to me or something like that, I just repeat it in my head over and over and over and over and over again. And that's that being uncomfortable thing.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to do that. We all do it. We all, I'll go through multiple days where sometimes I'm just like, oh, I wish that person would have done this. Blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I go, like, whatever, move on. I got other things on my mind right now I need to take care of. And you just have to do that.
How do you find, how are you able to organize your time and organize your thoughts and be able to keep everything in track without losing stuff? Like, do you use a really thick, dense system?
Okay. Well, I got a to-do list. I have a priority list. My to-do list is, this is everything that's got to get done. My priority list is, okay, just like at the airport, here's a standby list.
Yeah.
All right. Number one, top priority one is got to get done today. Priority two is, okay, got to get it done the next couple of days. 3, by the end of the week. 4, put it on the back burner.
Nice.
That way
list, yeah.
Because that way I'm not dwelling on something that I shouldn't be dwelling on right now.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
I always want to know how people organize their life. I know a lot of people just fly by their seat, and I'm not a fly by my seat person.
No, you're a very organized person.
You kind of have to be.
Oh no, I picked up on that.
I was going to ask you about, like, because a lot of, like, really smart people, they have that one area that's just a complete disaster. And for most people, it's their car. Like, for me, it's my car.
Oh no.
My car looks like a tornado went off in it. Everything else is
If you
organized.
look at my car, you'll see like, wow, there's nothing in here. What's going on?
That's how my last car was. I only had a snow brush in it.
No, I keep it neat. I try to keep it as neat as I can keep it. Now, obviously I need to go get a vacuum on it. The vacuum job done.
It could be worse,
inside. Yeah. But, with the snow coming down all the time, I'm like, look, it's like yesterday I saw someone go into the car wash with the snow still coming down. I'm like, you're going into a car wash. Listen, and it's like, no.
Oh, that's too funny.
I mean, my apartment, I try to keep everything clean too. I try to keep everything as clean as as neat as I can. But that's difficult. That can be challenging. But if you people know that if things start getting really out of hand, I'll go into this like Nazi, get out of my way kind of thing, and things just start.
The other ones who are coming in here to get it done.
It's like throwing things out, and things just start going. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Throw it, chuck it in.
That's one of the best feelings in the world is when you just start throwing stuff out. You're like, I haven't used this in 4 years. And you just start tossing stuff out. That's like all of these. Most of these are gift from my older sister. I've never used any of them. I've used the one on the left at the bottom left, and other than using these for this, like the creamer and the sweetener over here.
Yeah.
Never used them.
That's funny.
She gives them to me every year. Never used them. And that's one of those like comparative things. All the Hess trucks I've ever gotten in my entire life, I've opened them out of the box. I've taken the batteries out of the box, and I've put it all back together, and I put it on the shelf.
You got to.
And it's just I just want to sell them. They just take up space at this point. And you get to that point where you're just like, I just got to clear out some of this crap.
Just do it. At some point I just go, do it.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Just do it.
It's that spring cleaning mentality any time of the year. Fire sale.
Well, I mean, you have to. For me, if I'm disorganized, then I'm like, okay, something's going to go wrong.
So are you a possessions person or a memories person?
Memories.
Memories?
Yeah. It's all about the memories for me.
Yeah. Because you're not going to take anything else with you when you leave.
Right, exactly.
Who cares?
When I go to places, I look at them. Yeah, I may take a couple pictures here and there, but I don't have like an album.
No, this is where the wife and I differ. She takes 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 photos. I have the same profile picture from my wedding day. The photo I had before then was from 2 years prior on my birthday. The photo I had, other than like taking the photos for this show, that's the only reason I've been taking photos lately.
Yeah, you're like me.
I just don't need them. I don't want them. I don't care. I don't need the time. I don't need the restriction. I'd rather be with you doing stuff than take 15, 20 seconds or 7 minutes to get the same shot. I don't care. I just want to do it with you.
I just look at it and I'm like, if it's something pretty like a waterfall, then yeah, I'm going to take it because then, it gives inspiration for me when I think about, okay, what if?
Yeah.
What if I can come up with something about how can we make this waterfall like the waterfall in Multnomah Falls out in Portland, Oregon?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I looked at it and I took pictures of it and I got it back and I looked at the pictures and I was like, this makes a nice little chemie problem that I can come up with. And I translated it into something that, my students could understand. But you see, my students went on a journey with it. I took them around Oregon. I took them to different places, and then I tied in the chemical engineering principles. It's just that it allowed them to relax because it wasn't like a test.
Yeah.
It was a journey to prove to me you've learned and show me that you learned from these mistakes you've made before. Every problem has something in there that you've seen before in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you're just not putting it together until I show you.
So, and then, and that's why I get joy when I make my exams or make any problems that, I know that the reason I'm making the problems is to help them grow.
Yeah.
It's not to just to belabor a point or to hit them hard or whatever. I want to see them become something different.
That's a nice thing to do because there's, once again, a group of educators who just A through Z, here it is, and then either you know it or you don't know it. It's not relative to what's been taught, how you learn, what you're learning, what's the end game. It's, pass, fail, done.
Done, yeah.
Not let me see what you've learned, the chances that you can learn the rest of this, and how I can help you learn the rest of this.
Right.
It's that whole being part of it. You're part of the machine, and in the education sense, you are not the operator.
Right.
Or you're both. You could be both. I'm willing to bet you're both. I mean, you're part of an original unit of people from RIT for that department. So you're the man behind the screen, but you're also out there floating around telling Dorothy, go kill the witch. You know what I'm saying? Love The Wizard of Oz. The original one. I have a soft spot for that movie.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. The classic movies I love.
Mm-hmm.
The ones growing up, you get to see them. I love those. Some of these remakes, though.
I really wish they'd relaunch all those monster movies, like do an Invisible Man, do a Wolfman, do a Frankenstein. That's apparently what their goal was with The Mummy, was to launch that franchise
Really?
and then lead into like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and all those old monster movies. I'm just hopeful that they can do, because they're relaunching Nosferatu, which for anybody who has not seen the classic Nosferatu, it's very crucial to see it in black and white with the original. They did do rendering in color, and I think they did voiceovers. I don't recall, but it's a Swedish vampire film.
Okay.
It's freaky, but it was done so well for the time and everything like that, and it's just so critical to.
Well, my thing is, like, for example, Jumanji.
They were doing it, yeah.
I understand they were trying to bring it up to date and everything, but it was Robin Williams. It was classic. The humor in it, the comedy that was in it, that was great. I love the original, the '95. The one they seen today, I just had no interest in going to seeing it because I'm like,
why remake it though? That's my problem.
Well,
There's so many other movies you can make. Why remake it?
Well, I like it when they always give me the excuse of, well, we wanted to bring it up to time, bring it to date, so that the younger crowd can relate to it. It's like, well, no, that's what you have a classic for. That's why you call them classics.
Well, so if they had done Blade Runner by a different name, or they had done the new, remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with Tom Cruise. The one where he goes to Mars.
Oh, I don't know.
Total Recall.
Oh, okay.
If they had called them other names, they would have been just as good. But you're trying to get into this area of name recognition.
Right.
When is name recognition, when is a name dropping ever gotten you anywhere? Like, who cares? But you can make your own entity. Just make it. Do that. Because now Minority Report's a TV show.
They should never make that a TV show.
Lethal Weapon.
None of those should have become TV shows. They were movies. They were movies for a reason. Leave them.
I'll watch Shooter, though. I'll watch Shooter.
Really?
That was a good movie.
I watched the movie. I just didn't watch the show.
I will. It's in my queue.
Oh.
But I've also got Blacklist and stuff in there, so original concepts, or as original as I can perceive them to be.
No, Black is original. That
guy's awesome.
Yeah.
When I watched Ultron, I was like, "Damn, James Spader, you are the man," because he's just got such a great voice too. Because I saw him when he was on The Office.
Right.
He's just fascinating voice wise. So to see him
it's
play
funny
that
how he
same.
went from what do you call it, Stargate.
Oh, it's right. He was on
Stargate. You look at him, this
God.
nerdy nerd, and Stargate, and you're like, how did he go from being that to being this villainous guy that?
God, that's crazy! I hadn't even put that together.
Yeah, he was Daniel.
Wow. That's so you can tell that I like Stranger Things.
Nice.
I love it so much. I bought the first season on DVD already. and I've seen it enough times. But for me, the biggest problem that I have with that show is the fact that they cast Winona Ryder. Because if you had put somebody else in there to play her role, that show, I could just put my visors on and I could just jump right in, and I'm like, this could possibly happen in another universe given the multiverse theory. But Winona Ryder's in there, and I recognize her from so many different things. So now all of a sudden it's not. Because you put that together, you're like, okay, she's an actor.
What is she doing in there?
She's his mom. She's one of the main female leads who's trying to find the Demogorgon and get her son back, who's been stolen by the Demogorgon, and then she has a romance with Hopper, and it's such a good series, the first and second season.
But just looking at the posters, I've never seen the show.
Oh, it's so good.
If I look at this poster, I'm like, Children of the Corn. I don't know why.
Oh no! Don't do that to me. I had to wonder about him. Does he have good days? Because he just makes such good movies. I'm wondering if he's ever gonna make a comedy or something.
I don't know.
He's just got this one animal in him that's just trying to break out of the cage. He's like, let's put you back a little bit. But yeah, with this, if you're a big fan of 80s sci-fi or anything like that, they did it so well. The Russo brothers are on point. It's definitely very kitsch, but it's super, super, super watchable, and it's all about the girl in the middle, Elle. And
who's Winona Ryder? Which one?
Winona Ryder. So if you look on this poster, she's the top left.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, and then on the bottom poster, yeah, she's just next to her son, right in the center to the left.
Center. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, so if you look at the dead center character,
yeah,
right below Elle to the her left, his left. Wow, I'm so bad at it. She's there. She's by the police officer Hopper.
On the bike. Wait.
So if you look at the three guys on the bottom with the bikes,
yeah,
look to the next row up. She's on the left-hand side.
Oh, I see her. Okay.
Yeah, but all I see with her is Mr. Deeds.
Oh,
that's all I see. Every time I see her, I'm like, you were in Mr. Deeds. You married a billionaire. That's not how this works.
That's funny.
They just did such a good job on that. And I'm so disappointed that
what town is that supposed to be in?
Hawkins.
Hawkins what?
I think it's Indiana.
Yeah, okay.
But
they always pick.
I'm happy that they didn't for this. Because everybody's like, we're in New York City. We're in LA. I'm like,
no.
good things
They
that happen in
Omaha or something They always pick some city in Nebraska or something, or
because they reference real cities in this show too, so you know that they're close to big cities and stuff.
That's good.
But they did such a good job on it. Unfortunately, we have to wait till 2019 for the next season because they take so long to film the episodes. And I think when I was watching one of the interviews with that show, is they started doing the second season before the first season had been released.
Okay.
That's what I think I remember seeing. So before they even knew it, the first season would kick and go well, they were already producing it. And if it didn't go well the first season, they would have been doing all those following episodes for nothing, and they would have to scrap them all. Mm-hmm. But it was very well received. It's super interesting.
So who's the kid in the top with the hands out?
That's Elle. So if you look on this poster to the left here, she's the one in the middle with no hair. She is pretty much the star of the show. She is what the show's all about.
Okay, so the poster in the middle with her...
Just her left hand reaching out with her.
That up there, that's...
Yep, that's her.
With hair.
Her next stage. Yeah, she's her hair's growing out slowly.
But she says the show is about her.
Yeah, essentially it's about her, and it's like a coming-of-age tale for the three boys on the bottom, and their friend all the way on the top there. He gets taken by the Demogorgon, which is a being from another world. Mm. And they kind of bring together Dungeons & Dragons, coming-of-age, 90s kitsch films, and sci-fi.
Got it. And
they melded it into 6 episodes of an hour each. It's a quick watch, too. You'll run through the first season, then the second season, you'll be like, there's 6 episodes and 9 episodes? There's not enough. And then you realize that it's the equivalent of a normal TV show having 3 episodes in one. So that first season's 18 episodes, and that second season's 27 episodes.
That's funny.
I'm so happy Netflix took off the way they did, because they have made some killer series.
Isn't there what's the other one on Netflix that's very popular?
There's a new one that just came out, Carbon something.
Here's Carbon. I remember that one.
I know Fuller House is the most popular series on Netflix right now.
Fuller House?
Yeah, it's got more views than anything else because nostalgia sells.
But Full House is Full House. It was great watching Full House.
Yeah, and Fuller House is just the kids now, pretty much.
Oh, all right. Well,
I didn't watch it. But they've got such good shows, too, that they're putting out, and they're putting out stuff all the time. I mean, who would have thought that, 10 10 plus years ago or something like that, Blockbuster would have the option to buy Redbox out. And they're like, oh, that's never going to take off. People want to go into the store and pick up,
And now look at Blockbuster's out of business.
Yeah. Now you have, I'm sorry. Yeah, they had the right to play. I think it was Redbox. But, now you have Netflix who's just giving you your stuff in the mail, and all of a sudden we're doing streaming. We're going online, and all of a sudden we have money. Like, imagine how many people have Netflix, and if it's like a subscription's like $7 a month, I think they have over 100 million people who are on it over the world. A lot of money right there. Yeah. And that's monthly. Like, that's a billions and billions plus dollar industry right there.
I mean, people didn't think that people would go to streaming. That's the problem.
No, you're right. They didn't.
Everyone thought that everyone wants cable or satellite, and unfortunately, that's the opposite effect right now. Everyone's like looking at it like, well, cable's too expensive, obviously, and then satellite, well, it's not reliable.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do streaming?
I've got a stick, and I pay for Hulu. My cousin pays for Netflix.
Right.
We share the accounts. I have the stick. I jailbroke it, so that way I can get some extra stuff. And then I have an antenna.
See, there you go.
Because cable's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the stuff.
Yep.
So a nice point to like kind of wrap up on. And one of the things I really like to do is ask, what are your future plans? What do you have in store for yourself? And then if anybody really wanted to get a hold of you, because obviously you're a very, very insightful person, kind of pick your brain or just, have a conversation in the limited time that you have, how would they do that? So what are your goals? What do you have set going down the line now?
So keep being me is what my goals are. I'm a teacher,
mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to keep being a teacher.
Yeah.
Where I go, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm just taking it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
As life has taught me, stop worrying about 5 years down the road right now at this point. Worry about tomorrow, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I know that all too well.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not worried about, am I going to become the next, big scientific Nobel laureate? Honestly, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I just want to be me. I want to be able to be in the classroom, get up there, mentor students, make sure they're able to be who they are and be able to grow within. It's just that externally they can help others.
Yeah.
'Cause it starts from within, period.
It does, yeah.
We keep thinking that we have to have all these influences. Like, who are your influencers? Who are your influencers? It's like, stop worrying about the influencers for a moment. Who are you from the inside? What makes you you?
What inspires you?
When you can answer that question, because again, that's a lifelong question to answer. Who are you? We may never answer it.
Mm-mm.
But you have to have a starting point. And those starting points are the people who influence you right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, that's what I want to keep doing. It's consistently moving people down there. Help them write their own story. Don't let other people write your story. Write your own.
Are you a big fan of that thought process? Be the superhero in your own story?
Yeah. I mean, you know what makes you you. You know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has kryptonite.
Nice drop. Nice drop.
So for me, it's more of, I just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Have conversations like this.
It seems like you're enjoying it, though. Like you're enjoying life. There's really nothing bogging you down, and you're just, it's beautiful. I love it.
Being able to sit around, like you said, sit around, hang out, friends, family, talk, converse, laughter. You never know what's going to come out of a conversation. You just joke around every now and then, and you just, that's what's fun.
Yeah.
That's what makes life fun for me. But if anyone ever wants to talk or sit down, I'm available 24/7. I'll be honest with you. I don't restrict myself.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I know I have a busy schedule. We all do.
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing you can ever do is just tell people, I only have this little bit of block of time.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Sometimes, as you can see here, time just flies.
It did. We're already at 3.5 hours.
Who cares? To me, I don't care. We could keep going on and on and on. But people can just simply reach out to me, by email, rrogersjr4@gmail.com. Just reach out.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to tell you, he does respond because he responded to me. That's brilliant, though.
But again, I don't believe in titles. Just because I have a PhD doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a human being like everyone else. I'm normal like everyone else. I know how to fun like everyone else. We are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So my challenge to you is quite simple. Keep being you. You got a lot to give. like I said, I've been listening this entire time, listening to everything going on. You know what's in your heart? A giver. Someone that wants to ensure that others around are able to be happy.
Yeah.
But you got one more thing too. Drive. Lots of drive.
That's the problem though. Sometimes when you have drive, you choose to just go in that one direction, and you're like, well, can I apply this to multiple things? And you're like, no, because I don't care about those things.
But you know how to think outside. You know how to think outside the box.
Yeah, it's just getting there. And that's where I'm at in this part of my life right now, is figuring out how to get to those points where I can just drop the gas and just go.
Do you really believe you're not there yet?
Money's the only thing that holds me back, and it's not money for me. It's money to get the things going.
Yeah.
And that's it. As soon as I can get whatever money I need, boom, foot's going down. And that's what I told the wife. I was like, it would be awesome one day to be able to work for myself and live at home and do the things when I need to do them, because the only person that motivates me is me. Mm-hmm. You know, if I owned a product and I'm selling it and an order comes in, I'm going to do it, because that's what that does. But, you know, once again, you understand just as well as I do. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying your life. It's about having experiences, and it's about developing better as a person. Yeah. And obviously, you're coming from humble, beautiful Southern beginnings, and you're just going and going and going and going. And here's a bump, and going and going. Here's a bump. You're going and going. Where at any point in time, it could have just been just up and down, up and down, up and down. And your story is gorgeous. It's beautiful. And, I mean, you have insane drive. And I am so happy that you are teaching people, you know, chemical engineering, and that your door is open, and that you're so much more willing to learn and teach and become a better person. So people like you out there, they give me faith for the educational system. And we know you're going to touch people. You're going to motivate them, and you're going to build them up, and they're going to become better for having met you. And that's beautiful in this day and age.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking your time to come on and talk to me and let me share your story with everybody out there, because I hope that this is as educational for them as it has been for me. And I hope at some point in time down the road we can get together and we can talk again. Yeah. We can talk about what you're working on, your projects, your life. And
this has been fun.
I'm excited. I'm happy you had fun.
I hope you're inspired. I hope you're inspired to keep doing what you're doing.
I'm inspired by you. You're so humbling. It's just so hard not to be inspired by you, because you've achieved so much. And in your perspective, I don't think you realize how much you've achieved. But it's humbling just to see someone who has succeeded against odds and taken stuff and leapt over it and whatever. For you, it's just, okay, that was a thing. Okay, that was a thing. And you're just like, God dang, Kyle, get your head together. You know, get it together. Find a bag and throw it in. Like, figure it out. And because of this conversation right here, this has been super good for me. Mm-hmm. I always say that I do this the show for everybody else. But this has been so good for me that it's one of those, the book by its cover. Once again, I opened it up, I started to read through it, and I learned so much about you. I'm so appreciative. So if anybody needs to get a hold of him, I'm going to put all the links in the description box after I send everything out and I re-edit this one. And once again, if you want to get a hold of him, you can get a hold of me. You can go back and you can get a hold of the email, anything like that. But obviously, he's going to respond to you. So thanks for joining us. We had a good time. Kyle out.